No. Ladies and gentlemen, we are live. For another historic Mamdani speech. I missed Trump's speech this morning. I heard it was absolutely electric. Seems like he did a complete yes sweep. Even hit crypto Bitcoin. He's been on a tear lately with some crazy yes sweeps. Yeah. Pretty bizarre. I probably would have been on some no's. I'm kind of happy that I didn't get rinsed. Mamdani's going to be speaking in any moment now. He'll probably be a few minutes late, but this is going to be about junk fees. So it's you expect it to center around, obviously, like junk fees is a strike. Man, I'm getting jumped in this Trump market for Cnbc. Shit. I'll eat these. I only got working people yes at 48 and trap yes at 38 cents. Affordability jumped up way past my bid. Yeah, I think, like I said, like everything jumped after it was announced what this speech was actually going to be about, like being about junk fees. Obviously, I tried to mog as much subscription yes as I could, but I was kind of slow. I guess it doesn't look like New York local is going to be covering this. Let me see. What's this? Working people, yes. Let me pull up the Mamdani stream. I guess we're just going off vibes for Mamdani. Don't have any good data. I'm trying to see this Trump CNBC interview too. Like, what is this actually about? Is this pre-recorded? CNBC exchange. So I guess Trump is speaking to CNBC in Davos while Trump's there. So I guess it'll be something live. Yeah, I know. He did that junk fee one a couple weeks ago. Subscription, like, Let's see if there's any other like good. It was on the 5th that he did that EO. Let's look at the transcript from this one.
I was wondering if you can explain your thing. You don't have a deputy mayor.
Their point person will continue to be our deputy mayor for economic justice, Julie Su.
Just listening to his past speeches.
We, as citywide junk fee.
All right, I kind of like this. Dang, people are willing to sell a lot here. Is he not going to be joined by anyone during this speech? Yeah, I was introducing someone's title and talking about like some like economy project. But as part of the task force, it's headed by someone in like the Department of Economic Justice. What time am I going live on Sunday? What's Sunday? Sunday's not State of the Union, right? Let me see. What is Sunday? You mean just NFL? I probably won't be live Sunday. I don't really cover NFL stuff much. You saw my Tinder profile? What'd you think of it? Don't tell my fiance. Dude, crazy stuff is going down in the Kalshi Mentions Discord. Playoffs gonna be big. What does NFL trading look like for you? Just like a lot of stuff. What about Trump president? I mean, probably lean towards more no's on Trump president. It's kind of going to be dependent on if he gets asked in Q&A. He's not really going to address Trump president probably in the open. And this relating to junk fees, to me, kind of makes it feel like there really shouldn't be mentions of the president. Yeah, Trump this morning was a complete yes fest. And yesterday was a yes sweep. So, I mean, Trump's been kind of unhinged lately, to be honest. Like, he has been just like going crazy. What data tools to use or build for mentions? I'll use obviously like historical data for transcripts, things like that. That's a big part of it. And then just another big part is just building up intuition on like formats of speeches. It's really important. I know. Fireside chat spends an hour. I wonder how that's going to impact future yes strikes in Trump's coming speeches. I now feel like yeses are going to be like maybe somewhat overvalued going forward. Like crypto Bitcoin was up to like 60% or 40% yes for the CNBC interview. I smacked a lot of no shares. So if he says crypto Bitcoin again, I'll get kind of crushed. When was the second time they got crushed? Yeah, Mickey Betts. Dude, look at crypto no in the CNBC thing. It was literally 40% for yes. I tried to get as many as I could, but then people just started jumping me. But I got 1K at 78 for no. Pretty crazy price. $5.40 at 78. Oh, the Sam Altman pardon? Dang. Trump completely rinsed all weekly no holders yesterday. He went like straight down the list. Yeah, yesterday was just a crazy speech, but I guess this morning was another crazy speech. I didn't watch this morning. You had crypto no? I actually think there was an angle that you could have seen crypto yes, since he said it last year at Davos, but people were pricing in speech cutting earlier. I think I'm pretty happy that I wasn't watching the speech live, because I probably would have been slamming some no's towards the end of it. So good for me that I got out alive. Just like yesterday, dude. I could have gotten so much more rinsed yesterday. Everything bonded for 20s before the Q&A started. Oh, like it went to 99 before, but there was only like 2 left, right? That he hadn't said really. But yeah, those are just the spots where you're going to make all your money, man. And like crazy things like that. Like yesterday with 8 wars, I mean, granted, I only got 400. But stuff like that, just being constantly aware. Yes, 8 war in manufacturing. Do I have a monthly profit target? I kind of take it week by week, right? You know? And there's a lot of variance, obviously. Like, you'll win some, you'll lose some. Like, this month so far, I'm up 53K month to date. So it's like, am I going to repetitively do that each month? Probably not. I'm just have had a lot of good spots this month, so I would think of it more long term of like, but there's not much point in having like targets because it's just so varied. You know, I might have a big loss, then I might have a big win, then I might have a. So, my goal for this year, I would say, is it would be really cool if I could make 400K in 2026. So hit like 500K total profit. It's kind of my stretch goal. Obviously, it's gone really well this year so far, but you know, you're gonna have a ton of variance naturally. You know, so I'll have some big losses soon. I'm sure. Maybe I'll have big wins. You never know, but just gotta take it day by day. You gotta be process oriented, not results oriented. You know. So if I get money down in a really good spot, but I still lose money, I lost. You know, like yesterday. I mean, it was pretty small money on mentions. I lost like $1,000 on the affordable no thing in the end. But was getting affordable no at 85 cents good in that spot? I totally believe so. So, yeah, we lost $1,000, but I mean, we net lost 500 yesterday in that speech, but I think I got money in pretty good spots. Dude, the Warner Bros. I followed that so closely. It's funny. Like a week ago, some of my mentioned friends, kind of that I talk to a lot, brought up that exact strike a week ago. They were like, "How would Warner Bros. be treated resolution-wise?" And in the beginning, I was so confident when I first heard it that Warner Bros. Would go no. I was like, that has to go no. Right? Because clearly bro's different from brother. But then we talked more and more and more. And we spent like way too long thinking about it, researching it, whatever. And we kind of convinced ourselves then that it would go yes. Because, you know, the way you pronounce Warner Bros. Is Warner Brothers. So we kind of psyched ourselves out. But at the end of the day, I didn't have any money on it. So I'm impartial to the resolution, but I thought it was going to go yes. But it's funny, in the beginning, I was confident. Oh, here we go. Mamdani laughing right in the beginning.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is a pleasure to be here at the Whitney, and I have to say that one of the last times I was here, the incredible exhibition on Alvin Ailey. Alongside members, and it is lovely to be here today both in government to celebrate. I want to say first, alongside members of our administration with DCWP and colleagues, for quite some time, as well as our council member Harvey Epstein, a former colleague in Albany and now here in the city, who is the new chair of the Committee on Consumer and Worker Protection, and Rich Morocco and our brothers and sisters at HTC, who have long been leading the fight for dignity and decency when it comes to our hotels, as well as our commissioner Sam Levine, who has been a champion of what it can look like to use the law as a tool for working people, who is the new chair, a weapon against them.
Okay, this is faster.
And most of the hardships that New Yorkers contend with on a daily basis make no effort to conceal themselves. When a bus takes 20 minutes to arrive, you feel that hardship when you're late to work or to school drop-off. When your fingers go numb as you wait, when your phone battery dies in the January cold, when you open up bus time and you see it's supposed to be there in 7 minutes and then it disappears and it's as if the bus was never there at all. But there is a specific kind of hardship that New Yorkers only reckon with long after the fact,
people, I guess,
when they check their credit card bills at the end of the month, or they dig deep into the fine print of a confirmation email that may be in their spam folder, because those imposing it do not want to be caught. I speak of the hidden fees that plague New Yorkers' lives anytime they have the audacity to book a hotel room, not only when they're in our city, but when they're booking that room from here for wherever they're traveling around the country. These fees go by many different names: destination fees, resort fees, hospitality service fees. Whatever you call them, they are slippery, they are elusive, and ultimately, quite simply, these junk fees that hotels and booking sites sneakily impose on the people of this city without them knowing, this is something that we are bringing to an end.
Oh, I thought it was just say deceptive.
And what we see is in this 3 weeks since we took office, I have stood alongside our Department of Consumer and Worker Protection Commissioner Sam Levine several times to lay out an agenda and actions that would protect New Yorkers from greedy corporate interests that seek to take advantage of them. We've stood up to be champions for delivery workers whose hard-earned tips have been denied by the companies that employ them. We've signed executive orders to
Yeah,
target
Bob.
junk fees that add costs to New Yorkers' rent payments, gym memberships, or
Holy
concert
cow,
tickets.
subscriptions are getting
We've created
so
a
low.
citywide junk fee task force, and we've gone after the subscription tricks and traps that deceive our neighbors.
How did
Today,
subscription got down to 26?
we are taking the
What?
next step in our
Oh my
efforts
God, I was trying
to
to buy-
stand up for workers and consumers, as we announce DCWP's
I gotta
final
put
rule
limits up so I can bond
banning
this.
junk fees on hotel stays. While this is built on the great progress achieved by the FTC at the national scale, our rule goes one step further, requiring transparency on mandatory credit card holds
Transparent-
and deposits. This will
Transparency,
protect
but
New
not
Yorkers when they make
deceptive.
bookings both here in our city as well as when they travel across the country. And it will keep costs down too for those visiting our city, whether they're coming from the other side of the country or from just across the river to visit the Whitney. As we prepare to celebrate the World Cup in mere months, a tournament that has already started to become defined by exorbitant costs that threaten to price people out of the world's game, this will help lower costs and dissuade any business that's
Keep
operating
saying
outside of the
lower
law
costs.
from cheating these kinds of customers. Because make no mistake, most hotels in this city do not employ these kinds of predatory practices. They have nothing to be worried about with this rule. Those who treat their customers fairly will not be affected. But to those who have long approached business as an opportunity to mistreat those who they serve, let today be a warning. If you do not change your practices, city government will change them for you. Life in our city does not need to be defined by hardship. It can be defined by costs that come down, by businesses that give you what you paid for, and by city government that New Yorkers know is actually
Still no
fighting for them.
affordability.
Thank you so much. And now Commissioner Sam Levine.
Good afternoon. It is so great to be here.
Oh,
2 weeks ago, Mayor Mamdani signed a
5,600
historic
bid?
executive order directing my department to lead a citywide crackdown on junk fees.
Wait.
Today, we are delivering,
This hasn't
announcing
hit,
a
right,
ban
Bob?
on hidden junk fees that would drive down costs for New Yorkers and for the millions of visitors who come to our city each year. These fees, often called resort fees or destination fees, as the mayor alluded to, are incredibly frustrating to consumers. Last year alone, our department received more than 300 complaints about them, and economists
Should I just hit
estimate
that?
that they cost New Yorkers
Maybe
and
it's
our
too loud.
visitors more than
All right, I
$65
turned it
million
down.
every year in wasted time.
can you hear me better
Political
now?
leaders have been vowing to address this problem for decades.
Dude, I
but it
should've just
took
hit that
Mayor
bid.
Mamdani to
What's
deliver.
wrong with me? Wait,
Today, New York City is implementing the strongest
Wait,
hotel
what?
consumer protections in the United States.
what the fuck was
We're
that
not
bid,
only
dude?
banning hidden fees, but also cracking down on surprise credit card holds and deposits.
Dude,
The
there was
first
5,600
requirement
at
of its kind
60.
in the nation. All in pricing requirements
Why
take
didn't I just
effect
hit it?
1 month from tomorrow.
What the fuck?
I am proud to stand here beside the mayor, and it's telling that so many business, consumer, and council leaders and labor leaders are standing with us as well. They understand that hidden fees are not just a problem for tourists. They cheat honest hotels that advertise their prices transparently. They put frontline hotel workers in an impossible position, forcing them to absorb travelers' frustration over policies that they have no control over. And they damage New York City's reputation as a welcoming world-class destination. As New Yorkers prepare to host the World Cup this summer, we will show the world what it looks like when a city truly puts working people first. For DCWP, that means not only enforcing our junk fee ban, but also ensuring that visitors to our city are notified about service disruptions at their hotels, and that corporations can't undercut hotel workers through illegal subcontracting. This is an administration committed to using every tool we have to make a New York City more fair and more affordable. Last week, we blew the whistle on a $550 million scheme to cheat deliveristas of their tips, announced a compliance blitz to make sure this would never happen again, and filed a major lawsuit to shut down a delivery app preying on New York's delivery drivers. And in the weeks and months to come, you'll see more actions by this administration to root out junk fees and drive down costs.
The no's
for
are now up
people
to
of the city.
87 for that strike. That's why.
We are only 3 weeks into this administration, but Mayor Mamdani is already proving the government can deliver on the promise of a fairer and more affordable city. DCWP is proud to be a part of this effort, and we will continue to show every day what it means to have a city government that truly puts working people first. Thanks very much.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Rich Morocco, and I'm the president of the Hotel and Gaming Trades Council. And as someone who has the privilege of representing 40,000 New Yorkers who work in the hotel industry, I am genuinely excited to be here today. Because we, today is not just about announcing new DCWP policies. It is about unveiling a reimagined DCWP under a Mamdani administration. Look, the Department of Consumer and Worker Protection may be the most important city agency that New Yorkers have never heard of. You know, its core mission, as its name implies, is to protect working New Yorkers and New York consumers from those predatory corporations that seek to line their own pockets at the expense of the most vulnerable of us.
I'm picking up some cheap yeses
DCWP
in case they come back for Q&A.
No longer. Under the Mamdani administration and with Commissioner Levine, that giant has awoken. Their commitment to creating a DCWP that actively enforces consumer and worker protection laws, and their plan for an agency that both has the will.
Did I buy affordability? I have a bid up, but I'm not getting any fills. It's kind of jumped up. So, no, I don't have any shares.
It demonstrates in the starkest terms that this administration intends to put working New Yorkers first, and that it has the courage to go after those powerful corporate interests that seek to take advantage of them. And nowhere is that need for protection more acute than it is in the hotel industry, because both consumers and workers are often victimized by those practices that are both unique to, but all too prevalent in the hotel industry. And it's not just practices like those junk fees that catch guests by surprise when they open their bills.
I actually wouldn't mind
It also includes practices like failing to protect hotel workers from sexual assaults which are all too common up on the
stream
floor.
with Joey Ingham. Wow, that was such a while back. We got to do a stream again.
Vulnerable workers through subcontracting.
I love Joey Ingham, man. It was a crazy collision for me too, because I used to watch him a ton. Because I kind of come from a poker background before I got into Kalshi and like prediction markets.
New York City hotel workers expires this July 1st, and who are facing the real prospect of a potential citywide strike for the first time in more than 40 years. It's the practice of failing to notify guests before they arrive that there's a strike, and the practice of then refusing to grant them refunds when they choose to honor our picket line. It's because of these types of practices and many more that the hotel industry is.
Let's hope we get a Q&A,
the focus of the city
and maybe we can hit some of these yeses we got for cheap.
Dedicated to protecting New Yorkers.
That would be very nice.
Fortunately, DCWP already has the tools that it needs to protect New Yorkers by enforcing those existing laws regulating the hotel industry. And I have no doubt that under this administration, that is exactly what they will do. So I would like to thank the mayor and the commissioner for making it clear.
I have to be ready if he doesn't do Q&A to just pull all these bits.
Working New Yorkers. You know, this administration doesn't just talk the talk.
Is it not legal in Australia?
We are less than 1 month into this administration, and already we have seen the mayor and his team putting working New Yorkers.
Is there like a ton of legislation in Australia favoring casinos and stuff? I know they're really big in Australia.
And a better advocate for hotel workers as we go into this historic period. So thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Commissioner. I appreciate it.
All right, he's coming back.
Councilmember Brewer.
Oh no, another council member.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Commissioner. And it is an honor to be here today. I never go anywhere. I stay right in Manhattan. But stay vacations, now maybe they would be more interesting than they have been in the past if we actually know what we're paying for. That would be very exciting. But I do want to say that New York City experienced the highest hotel occupancy levels among the top 25 markets in the country in 2025 at over 85%, compared to about 60% nationally. And obviously, with the soccer and other activities here, we now have a special rate for hotels. More tourists are coming. However, luxury hotels experience the biggest gains in occupancy and average daily room rates. the average client of a luxury hotel spends $1,710 per night. Affordability matters to tourists. New York City wants visitors of all incomes, and obviously with this wonderful announcement, they'll have a clearer sense of what they are paying for. So if you're traveling on a budget, junk fees may mean when the tickets at the Whitney are at full cost, that you can't go to the Whitney if you're not
Talking
if you're
about
paying
hotels
those
here.
junk fees. But if you don't pay junk fees, you can go to the Whitney. Thank you very much.
Trying to hype up the Whitney here.
Councilmember Epstein.
All right, they're having a lot of council members come up. This is kind of good for us getting some cheap
Thank you
shares.
for your work. 3 weeks into this tenure, we're still seeing real change in this city. You talk about affordability, these are those moments. You talked about a vision for a bold change for New York, and this is it every single day. As the chair of the Consumer Worker Protection of the council, our job is to collaborate with the mayor's office, and Sam, thank you for your leadership and your work, to figure out how we make it fair for consumers. How do we make it fair for workers to live in this city and to work in this city? Every day we hear about people being scammed and being abused. These hidden fees are just one
I can't remember. Did he
example
say
of
deceptive in
problems
his
across
last junk
our
fee?
city. And we have the opportunity now with a bold new vision, a mayor who's unwilling to back down from powerful interests, willing to take risks and willing to stand up to say, this is the New York we believe in. This is a New York for all of us. And that's what these fees are about. It's saying, hey, if you're buying tickets here or coming here, we want to make sure that you're clear about these costs and those opportunities, as well as working with HTC Protect, the tens of thousands of workers who are in those hotels, to make sure they have good, solid, union-paying jobs and have a fair opportunity to stay in those hotels and not be harassed. Across the board, this is a win for New Yorkers.
DM'd
This is the future of what
on
New York
Twitter
looks
or
like.
X?
And 3 weeks in, if we continue, and I know the mayor will continue to focus on affordability, this is what changes it for New York. This is what makes it available for folks, for my children who are afraid they won't be able to live here, or for other people's children. This is the New York for all of us, and we need to make sure it happens. This is a critical step to say we're not going to back down to whatever those interests are to make sure New York becomes more affordable for all of us. Thank you.
All right, here we go. I think he's coming back.
On-topic questions for the commissioner.
On-topic
Mayor.
questions, too.
Yeah, Matt, go ahead.
How
It's
are these
decent.
regulations and rules different from what Mayor Adams proposed last year? And can you articulate the particulars?
Yeah, thank you.
Shoot,
Well, this has
he's
been
not
part of an
answering
effort
some of
both
these.
by the Biden
Not very
administration,
good
when I was
for
at the
us.
FTC, we put forward
We
a
want
rule,
Mamdani to
and the
answer.
Adams administration also proposed a rule. What we're doing today is actually turning that proposal into law. I think there was a lot of concern that there'd be lobbying efforts or efforts to water this down. What we're saying with this rule, this is the strongest hotel consumer protection anywhere in the country. Nothing has been watered down at all. And I can say as a former federal official that with the FTC really asleep at the switch, I've heard it described as a coma, we need strong city enforcement to make sure New Yorkers and visitors to our city aren't getting ripped off. And that's exactly what we're going to do at DCWP.
Can I just follow up? These are identical to what Adams
Mamdani,
did.
come
Is the
on.
rule
You gotta
online?
answer these.
I believe the rule is online. That's right.
Go ahead, Josie.
Mayor, I think it was you
Okay,
who
good. Mayor
mentioned
question.
$65 million number in wasted time that hidden hotel junk fees cost the city. I know you've
Talk
also
about landlords.
promised to
Talk about the landlords.
expand DCWP's budget by the same amount.
It's called ball knowledge,
65
Gustavo.
million. Is that a coincidence?
That's why you watch my streams.
Yes, it's very much a coincidence. The money that we are saving New Yorkers is money that's going back into their pockets. And the money that we've spoken about with DCWP is money that is to be funding the agency's work. And we'll be giving more specifics as we get closer into the budget process.
My second question.
Sorry, Josie,
my
one at
my
a
second
time.
question is, how do you feel
sorry,
about
Josie, we're
the
just gonna go-
commissioner dining with Sid Rosenberg, right-wing radio?
We're going to go to off-topics in a second. Miles, go.
I'll come back to you for the off-topic.
We've, for the last 3 weeks, sort of had a steady drumbeat of consumer-focused economic announcements.
economic.
Can you tell me
Let's
if
see it.
you,
Let's see it.
when you
Economic.
plan to
Do it.
articulate your economic
Oh, come on.
development
Economic.
mission,
Let's go.
And
Right
how
here.
is the process
Right
going
here.
to finding a new head of EDC? I understand Andrew Kimball is still around. She did leave Manhattan once, I know
If I
for
can
sure.
sell this in time.
The process is going well. We continue to conduct interviews for the position. And We are an administration that is dedicated to the continued generation of prosperity in this city and ensuring that that prosperity reaches the lives of each and every New Yorker. So in addition to the policies we've put forward to protect New Yorkers and consumers and as workers,
really not
we've
gonna say
also
it.
put forward an executive order that directs every agency to cohere every single rule and regulation that a small business faces
He's
by
not gonna
operating
say
in
it.
this city, with the directive to reduce those fines and fees so that we can make it easier for those businesses to actually survive here. The other point that I'll echo from Commissioner Levine a few press conferences ago is that
I'm gonna sell this.
there
if he
are a
doesn't hit
number
it
of
here.
businesses that are following the rules. And what they see in an environment where impunity tends to govern the response from city government, or lack thereof, is they ask themselves, why am I going through the trouble of following the rules if there are so many others that can operate outside of them? And so today is not just to hold bad actors
Oh, is he
accountable.
really gonna dodge
it's also
it?
to say to those who have been good actors that we see the work that you're doing and you're right to do it, and we'll support you in doing so.
Any more on-topic questions? And let's keep it to one.
Dang, man, what a dodge.
So you were talking about the World Cup and affordability, but right now, if you check the prices on hotels, for example, for July, they are 50,000,
Selling at 45, 25,
and
people still
even
gonna buy.
Airbnb is another issue, because right now, New York City regulations make that it's impossible to find Airbnb here. Everyone goes across the
Airbnb
river
could be
because
landlord
what are
question.
you gonna do to make more flexible those regulations and to make more affordable?
Nice,
not
we're out
like
at 25.
spending
Okay,
2,000,
so we had a
4,000
good
just to
chance
stay here in
option for him to hit it
Well, the
there.
focus is
We
on
got our
affordability
25.
is something that drives us each and every day, whether we're talking about the prices for a tourist to come into New York City, or also what the cost of the game is to actually go and watch a World Cup match. I had somebody stop me on the street the other day and ask me for help to get them tickets for
I don't
Brazil-Morocco.
want to
And I
keep
told
this
them,
up too much, but are
I know,
people
rich
actually
Morocco, but
filling?
That's as close as I
I
can
gotta
get
pull
to
this
it.
fast.
And he supports Brazil. But I think that this is one example of the ways that we are trying to make this a city that's easier to visit, and also a city where it's easier for a New Yorker to take a
Oh,
vacation.
they already hit
What we
accountable.
do think
Let's
the key
go.
here is, how do
All
we
right.
do this work in a manner that makes it cheaper to visit and also protects the dignity of the workers that are keeping these hotels running? I can tell you I had
Dang, he's getting a
the
lot of
privilege, frankly,
close
of
questions to
meeting with an
landlords.
HTC member by the
It's
name
really
of
not
Shakira,
saying it.
who used to live
I'll
in a
put a
shelter
cell if he
working at a
doesn't
non-union
hit it out
hotel.
here.
And the difference it has made for her to work in a union hotel is one where she has her own apartment, where she can raise her children, and where
Come
she
on,
knows
own
that this is a
apartment?
city where
Talk
she
about
shouldn't just work,
landlord.
but one where she should be able to live as well.
Okay, we'll take off topics too. Andrew, go ahead.
I want to ask you a question about the weather, Mr. Mayor. The current forecast is
Weather?
for upwards of a foot on Sunday. I'm wondering if you've already begun the discussions about what might happen Monday. Are you open to a traditional snow day where there's no school?
Wow.
Or are you moving
Snow day in New
forward
York.
with the possibility of a virtual school day if the forecasts hold?
I knew this moment would come. As someone who grew up in this city and used to put the trash can at the bottom of the hill and pack it with snow, it is a question that I have anticipated. Look, we are taking every single precaution that we can. I think at this time, a lot of these are hypotheticals, but what I can tell you is that we are not going to be taken by surprise about the weather coming this weekend, and we are also going to communicate directly and clearly to New Yorkers what they should expect. Right now, the spectrum of possibilities is large. As that gets closer to the date, we will be able to share exactly what New Yorkers should be looking for.
What about the snow day?
Well, that depends on exactly what I've just
Ooh,
said.
we're getting a 23. Nice.
Mr. Mayor, I wonder if you could indulge me for a second. I'd like to show you some video that we shot. If I can make it go. It's of 4 homeless encampments that we found in the city. 2 on the west side and 2 and
Homeless encampments question?
Councilmember Brewer actually has been trying to get your office for weeks to deal with the 2 on the west side. She wants to see them put into supportive housing. So I've personally talked to these people.
Housing
I've seen
question
them
could
for
be
weeks
landlord
as
here.
well.
I'll hold.
What is your office going to do about it? And is it acceptable, given the fact that it's 21 degrees, for these people to be there on the street, on the Upper West Side, and getting no help?
So I
Could
think
be landlord here.
First, I will say we've only been in office for weeks. Today does mark our 3rd week in office. And it is not acceptable for a New Yorker to have to find shelter outside, whether on the Upper West Side or anywhere in this city. New Yorkers should be able to find a place to call their home. And what I have said consistently, first as a candidate and now as the mayor, is that outcomes are how we judge ourselves. And in the previous administration, the approach to homeless encampments has been one where only 3 New Yorkers were connected
Come on.
with supportive housing over the entirety
go.
of a
Talk
year.
about the
And so right now, one of the
landlords. Talk
focuses
about
of
the
our administration, as well as in conversations with the councilwoman, but also internally, is how we change those outcomes. Because the answer is not that someone should find the safest places outside. The answer is, how do we connect them with the services they need? And that's going to be the policies that we'll be putting forward.
Wow.
I just need to follow up.
Big
I spoke
dodge.
to the man today who was on the Upper West Side, and he said he'd been in a shelter at Bellevue, and he had to leave because people there were smoking K2, and he didn't think it was safe. And I asked him, would you go into supportive housing? Would you, and he said, sure,
All right, we'll
I would
exit.
go into supportive housing if somebody would offer it to me.
Yeah. And I think this is the key here, is
Oh,
that
no, don't go
it's not just the
landlords.
question of how we approach homeless New Yorkers or encampments. It's also, why are they choosing to live there, and what does it say about the options that we've been giving them? And that's why at the heart of this has to be the connection with services that they want, that they will use, that they will actually utilize. And so that's going to be a key part of what we're actually going to deliver as our administration's new policy.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you, Marcia.
Hi, Mr. Mayor.
Hi, Mom.
So yesterday, in your statement during the governor's budget address, you seemed to be taking a shot at Governor Kathy Hochul, accusing her
Ooh.
of austerity politics and for not
Kathy
giving the city its fair
Hochul.
share. I was hoping you could elaborate. And were you being critical of her budget? And do you feel like the city's not getting its fair share from the state? What more would you like to see?
I think the governor's budget makes meaningful investments that move us closer to an affordable and a livable New York.
Affordable.
And I think
There it is.
especially we've seen that in terms of early childhood education, which, by the way, the deadline for enrolling is February 27th for any parents who are watching for pre-K. I think that it's actually the governor's fiscal stewardship. I think it's also the strength of our city's tax base that the state is on firm financial footing. The issue, however, is that the city is not. And that is a direct result of Eric Adams's gross fiscal mismanagement. Unlike the prior
5 minutes
administration,
ago.
we're not going to sweep problems under
I
the
didn't have any
rug.
shares, so I wasn't
We
watching it.
are going to restore long-term stability, and we continue to believe that that will require taxing the most profitable corporations and the wealthiest New Yorkers their fair share, so that we can actually build a city that has a firm fiscal footing. And we will also look to change the relationship between our city and the state in terms of one that better reflects the city's status as the economic engine of the state.
Economic? No!
And what we're talking about in many ways,
I had
these are
500
reflections
shares.
of prior administrations, both at the city level
why didn't I just
and at the
hold,
state
man?
level.
I would've been up
and
so
now is the
much.
opportunity to actually
Damn.
deliver on a new era.
Yeah. We'll go, sorry, we have to move on. I'm sorry, Henry and then Liz, go ahead.
Oh, generational
One second.
fumble
Do we have-
selling that at
Does anyone have
25.
a water? We can get you a water, bud.
Generational fumble. Why am I selling that? Why am I ever selling that? What am I doing? I had 500 economic at what, 14?
And if the question gets tough, just
Why
help
did
me
I
out.
ever sell that? Such a fumble.
Hi, Mayor. How
Hey,
you
how's it
doing?
going, man?
I'm actually following up directly on Morgan's
Please, yeah.
question. So we talked last week when the report came out, and you just kind of alluded to it about the $2 billion budget deficit and $10 billion in the next out year.
Wow, Trump is holding
The budget
very
is out.
defensive
There is no millionaire's
price-wise.
tax. There is no corporate tax. Are you at this point, and I know you don't
Dude, I
want to
know,
do cuts, you
Bob.
said as much,
And I
but
got
at
it at
this point, is
15 or
your
14
office
cents.
budget
Why would I even sell it at
preparing
70
potential
bucks? Who
pegs
cares?
in case the money doesn't come through?
Our administration is preparing to make the case that it is the time for New York's most profitable corporations and wealthiest residents to pay their fair share. And I also was speaking about the relationship between the city and the state. To just put it into exact terms, the city makes up 54.5% of the state's tax revenue. It receives 40.5%. This is a reflection of then Governor Cuomo's decade-long effort to shift cost burdens from the state to the city. And so what we are looking to do is to tackle long-standing fiscal issues that both have to do with the need for more revenue from the highest earners, but also the relationship between City Hall and Albany.
So you're
Liz,
not
go ahead.
preparing cuts just in case behind the scenes at this point? To be clear, that's not an order you've
I
given
think
your
he answered the
office?
question. Liz, go
The
ahead.
order is to continue to make the case. Thank you.
Hi, Mr. Mayor.
Hey, Liz, how's it going?
There was a New York Times story yesterday that reported that your aides in December privately told the governor's team that they were willing to set aside the demand to tax the rich and wealthy corporations if you got the money for childcare. Can you confirm if that's true and elaborate what your position is to the governor on that?
I'll say it again. I continue to believe that now is the time to increase taxes on the most profitable corporations that do business in New York and the wealthiest
Tax the
residents that call
corporations,
the
not
city
the
home,
wealthy
so that
residents.
they pay their fair share.
I'm not
so that
calling
we can
myself
create a city
necessarily
that
wealthy, but I
delivers
feel like I'll
for
get
all of
taxed
us.
more.
What we are talking about
Don't
here
tax me,
is
Mamdani.
New Yorkers who make $1 million
Why am I
a year
getting
or
taxed
more,
by the
increasing their
city?
personal
Let me
income
keep
taxes
my
by
money.
2%. I spoke
so
to one New
much.
Yorker just the other day who identified themselves as making more than $1 million. They said, "Is it true you want to increase my taxes?" I said, "Yes." And they said, "Why? You know, how much is it going to be?" I said, "It's 2%. It's $20,000 additional in tax." They said, "That's all?" And I said, "Yes."
But that's a
and
lot
I think part
for
of
a
this
city.
is that there is a lack of understanding as to what
$20,000 is a
exactly
lot.
it is that we're
All right,
talking
if
about.
you're making a mil.
And also that this has to be one part of proving to New
Wow.
Yorkers
Is
that
he
every
wrapping
dollar
up?
they give to the city is a dollar they're going to see back in services. Because just as much as I care about public goods, I care about public excellence. I want to make sure
This
that
just
you
took
can
a
look at your tax
nosedive.
dollars going in and you can see them coming back in the form of a quality of life that is
Yeah, it's a
unparalleled in
ton.
the city and in this state and in this country, rather.
If he does 5 extra mention markets, exactly.
I'm very clearly continue to be supportive of taxing the wealthy.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, the detectives union just issued a statement. They said that the officers that were
this
on
is
duty
going
that
back.
sought treatment at Langone Cobble Hill were met, and I'm reading,
Okay,
with rudeness,
getting some
disrespect,
12-cent
and a
bills.
lack of basic professional courtesy by hospital administrators. What is your understanding of what happened there, and why was there such an issue in providing them medical assistance?
That's the first that I'm hearing of that, but that's something that I'll follow up on. Thank you for flagging that.
Mr. Mayor.
Hi, Cecilia. How are you?
Come on,
Good, thank
fill
you.
some of
Do
these
you have
shares.
an update on the appointing of a new DOC commissioner? And has the upcoming appointment of a remediation manager or receiver made that hunt more difficult?
So we do not have any additional personnel announcements at this time, but we will make those public as soon as we do.
Man, this is jumping
we are
so
conducting
much.
a number of interviews for positions across the admin and
People
are very
bidding
excited,
so
frankly,
high.
by the team that we're building.
Or has that made it more complicated? The fact that there is going to be a receiver likely appointed?
No. Thank you.
Hey,
Yes,
my previous
that question, yes.
how do you feel about your police commissioner, Jessica Tisch, dining with right-wing radio host Sid
Did they
Rosenberg
remove
last
NYPD as a strike?
I can
guess they
tell you
did.
that of all the questions that I ask my police commissioner, who she had dinner with the night before, is not one of them. And the focus that the two of us share is on delivering public safety to each and every New Yorker, and that's the work we continue to do.
And do you have an update on replacing Zach Iscol? I know it's previously mentioned there's a snowstorm coming this weekend. Is there more urgency in cementing ahead for that agency?
So I'm incredibly grateful for Commissioner Iskel's service
Wow,
and
why is
the
Yes
work and
jumping
dedication
so
that he has
much
done in preparing
Trump?
New York City for everything from
Up to
extreme
40?
weather to fires. And I can tell you that in just the first days of being the mayor of our incredible city, there were 2 5-alarm fires consecutively. And each time that I got to the scene, I found Commissioner Iskel there. And we're also grateful that he will continue to be in his position through February 11th to ensure that there's a smooth transition and that we are completely prepared not only for this weekend's potential severe storm, but that we are also continuing to work with our emergency response team for anything that comes in the time in between.
Time for a few more. Yeah, Hannah, go ahead. Then Jacob.
Hey, Hannah.
Mr. Mayor, I have a question. The New York Nurses Association just
Typically
put
a
out
no fest,
statement
yeah, but
or
this is
press
a pretty
release saying
big
they're going
yes
back to the
fest. I
bargaining
mean, are you
table
looking at this?
tomorrow,
Can't believe I didn't hold my
because of you and
economic
Governor
yeses,
Hochul
dude. It
urging
would have made
them
extra
to,
500.
Could you talk a little bit about what you've said? Obviously, you've been on the side of nurses in this scenario, but yeah, can you just talk a little bit about what you exactly have been urging them to fight for?
Well, I'm very heartened by the news, and each and every day that I've been at the picket line or spoken about the strike, I've always encouraged a swift and
Trump
immediate
is
resolution to the
so
strike. And also
defensive
recognizing the
on, like,
incredible
the
work that
strike is
nurses
holding
do
so
in this city.
defensive.
And I can tell you that I'm tired
Like, the decay is
of
so small,
speaking
people
to a
are
working
really
person
pricing in a
and
Trump
asking
question.
them where they live in New York City, and then they tell me it's a state nearby because they can't afford to live here. And I'm heartened by this news, and I look forward to the resolution of the strike.
Yeah, Jacob, go.
You said on Friday that you ordered a legal review on the buffer zone measure. The speaker said that she wouldn't have introduced it if it didn't pass the legal muster. So my question is, one, have you spoken to the speaker about this specific legislation? She's planning to introduce it quite quickly. And if she passes it and you determine, or by the review, that it's not necessarily illegal, would you veto it?
I will not sign any legislation that we find to be outside of the bounds of the law. I speak regularly with the speaker. We haven't discussed the specifics of this legislation. I do continue to look forward to the findings of that review of its legality from my police commissioner and my law department.
All right, we've got time for one more. Yeah, Timmy, go ahead.
Judge Street Journal.
I wanted to get your response to your comptroller, Mark Levine, saying that he was open to buying Israel bonds on Saturday. Is that something New York should be doing? And do you have any leverage negotiating power to express your stance?
So I've made clear my position, which is that I don't think that we should purchase Israel bonds. We don't purchase bonds for any other sovereign nation's debt. And the comptroller has also made his position clear, and I continue to stand by mine.
Thank you guys so much.
No, I didn't get any bills.
We'll do one Staten Island question.
Oh, one more question.
Come on.
Someone
come on.
bonded that.
Forgotten no more.
That being said,
Oh, God.
Blue Staten Islanders have asked you to reclose a park roadway in Silver Lake to vehicle traffic. Mayor Adams reopened it. We have the same question. Reopened it last year. I just wanted to get a sense of where you're at on that. Do you support closing it to vehicle traffic? And what do you think of their request?
Well, that's something that I'm going to follow up with and get back to you on. I think that I want to take very seriously both the request from Staten Islanders themselves and also give you an answer that I can hold myself to. But I appreciate you for flagging it. It is something we'll get back to you on. Thank you all.
so much.
Thank you.
All right, we'll do one picture under the time.
Oh, I don't want to bond too early, to be honest. I'm a little afraid that they could like come back out and like say something. Trump started? Trump started? He started? I gotta pull my bids.
Thank you.
Did Trump actually start on CNBC, Bip-Bop?
I think it was.
All right. Thank you, guys. If you're under 25, we need free.
Dude, imagine he says Trump at the end there. I would have clicked 50K shares. How are people bonding 70K this early while it's still on? Holy. That's so crazy. Are you seeing this, Bip-Bop? Like, imagine he comes out and says Trump right there, like in the last second. There's 60K at 1 cent. I would have slammed that. Oh, why can't that just happen to me? Trump already started. All right, let me pull up Trump. Wait up. All right, Trump. What will Trump say? I have one position so far on this. On just no crypto Bitcoin. Please don't say crypto Trump. Let me hide Mamdani. Let me see if I can pull up Trump.
We're going to need it. So we have a country that's becoming very safe. We had the best crime numbers that we've had ever in recorded history.
Is it really 1 year?
Perhaps they were
Can
better
they fix this freaking audio?
100 years ago. I'm not.
What is wrong with you, CNBC? You're a $1 billion company. God, don't do it. This is crazy. Shoot, is there a better source, though, to listen to for Trump?
Go.
God, why are they all 1 year? What the hell, dude? Okay, I don't think I can show screen. Let me try to go to YouTube TV. And I can listen to it. Ow, man, that was just hurting my ear. It's on, White House is streaming it?
ever seen. They were
Oh,
closing.
wow.
We lost half of the restaurants in the last 4 years during the Biden administration. Now they're all opening again. I even went to have
But this doesn't count.
a dinner just to show.
People
I guess,
aren't
to make a
bonding
point. I
Biden.
went to a restaurant in Washington. I walked right down the middle of the
Is
street.
this a separate
I wouldn't say
mention
that
from the
Secret Service
CNBC
was
one?
Thrilled, but if I did it a year before, believe me, it wouldn't work. Here's my other friend Hussein. How are you? Okay? Are you good? Boy, you got a lot of good people here. This is a very good place. But so it's amazing what's happened there. Memphis is amazing. When you go to Louisiana, what we've done there has been incredible. Always much more helpful if we could have a little
Let me
participation.
pull this up on X.
In the case of Louisiana, we have Jeff Landry, the governor, Republican governor. We have a couple of Democrat governors. We have a couple of
So was this just a
Democrat
surprise
mayors who
that we
very
didn't get it up?
quietly are begging us for help.
Let me pull this up.
And we're making them all look very good. But I would do it if I were a Democrat, if I were a mayor or a governor. I'd be saying, Mr. Trump, could you quietly come over here and would you do this, President, for me? Send about 1,000 troops in here, and we do it fast, and we get rid of the criminals. And it's amazing how effective. You know, I didn't campaign on this. I campaigned on law and order, but I didn't know it would be this type of law and order. But the cities, some of these cities, we.
All right. Let me pull Trump up. So this will count for the weeklies at least, I guess, because there's no separate mention for it. Let me turn the audio on.
Very low IQ person. There's a low IQ person. And it's amazing. You have these wonderful, beautiful black women with Make America Great Again, MAGA caps on. They're all over Chicago. They want MAGA to come in. And we went in a pretty quiet way, as opposed to the way we did it in Minnesota. You know, in Minnesota,
we
took
made
out over 10,000
or so on Mamdani.
hardline criminals, people with big convictions that
bad.
came in here
We'll
that
take
shouldn't
it.
be here, brought them back
I
to
mean,
countries. In
pretty
some
low,
cases, we
whatever.
bring them to jails, because if you bring them back to the country, they'll find a way, despite the strong borders, they'll find a way in, because a lot of them are really evil, but they're not stupid. So we're doing a real job.
They're
The
pushing
country's,
CNBC back
the
to
hottest
one.
country
Yeah,
anywhere
this
in the
isn't the
world.
interview, CDB.
Best place to invest. The great big beautiful bill is incredible.
Holy,
You
look
get
at
that
all these
1 year
yeses he hit
deduction. You
yesterday.
build something and you take the whole thing down. And I always said that's what made my first term so successful, because I mean, people were buying things that. I have a friend bought an airplane. He never used it. He just bought it. He said, I deducted it. He's on the plane. I think he's got,
deducted
Steve, you
his
could buy it. He's
airplane.
got about 4 hours on the plane. It's been 3 years. I think it would be a great plane to buy, actually, because he'll never use it. But it really spurred people to do things and do projects that they really would have delayed or held. And the beautiful thing about the great big beautiful bill, the one that we just did, is over there you had a 2-year window to do it. Now we have a 10-year window, which I hate to tell you because people will take their time. So in one way, I didn't want that. I call that not good, but it is good ultimately. Think of it, it gives me a chance to use it if and when I ever get out of this position. There's a big question. It gives me a chance to use it. Otherwise, I'd be precluded. That would be terrible, right? But it's 10 years, but you're able to, you build something, you build a factory, you write the whole thing off 1 year. Nobody's ever thought that was possible. It was always 38, sometimes 40, sometimes 41 years. You get a little here, a little there, nothing.
41
You write it all
years.
up. So it's been really amazing, and you are the people that made it happen. Really, largely it's you and a group of others. Not a lot more. I mean, the people here, I guess, because of Larry, the people that came to this event, it's really incredible. I wasn't sure how it was going to turn out. We had somebody, as you know, that ran it for many, many years, and I'm not sure what happened there, but I figured, well, that's all right. They had a hell of a run in Davos. Then I heard Larry was taking it over, more or less, and he called me. He said, would you do me a favor? Would you be there? And we've had some great business dealings together, and he's great. He's one of you. He's one of the greats, and it was an honor. We had a good speech. We got great reviews.
Great reviews.
I can't believe it. We got good reviews in that speech. Usually they say he's a horrible dictator type person. I'm a dictator. But sometimes you need a dictator. but they didn't say that in this case. And no, it's common sense. It's all based on common sense. You know, it's not conservative or liberal or anything else. It's mostly
common
I'd say
sense.
95% common sense, and that's what we have. So I just want to thank everybody for being here. It's such an honor. And if we can ever help, you're going to let me know. And I have a pretty direct line. Marco Rubio's here, too. He's done a fantastic job as Secretary of State. He'll go down as maybe the best Secretary of State if he keeps going like he's going. That's a big question. I don't know that he will. But for the first year, he's right. He's headed to the top. And I just want to thank everybody very much for being here. Thank you very much. Take care of yourselves. Thank
All right,
you.
I don't think anything hit in the weeklies or monthlies. I guess now we wait for CNBC. Now we wait for CNBC. Will I get rinsed on crypto Bitcoin? Let's see. I will gladly go down with the ship on crypto Bitcoin. If it happens, it happens. No, don't jump me at 78. Okay, he's getting filled fast. Hell yeah. People are filling these fast. Does CNBC ever bring up crypto Bitcoin actually, like for this type of thing? Like, am I crazy to just jump this up to 5K shares? I don't know how big I want to go. I feel like I got to take this to 5K. What's good, Loom? There's an important crypto legislation in Congress at the moment. Dude, there's always bullshit important crypto legislation. You're talking about the Coinbase thing? How much money in total? Well, right now, I have $2,000 on them not saying crypto Bitcoin. But I'm debating how much to go. Do we know how long roughly the interview will be? To be honest, I've done like barely any due diligence on this like interview. I just like him saying it at the World Economic Forum thing, I could hear it, but what is CNBC's The Exchange? I want to get information on what this is. Am I going to screen share the interview? If it's only on TV, I can't screen share it. But if it's like live, then I can screen share it. Because I can't obviously screen share it if it's like freaking copyright. I need to get more info on what the hell these exchange formats is before I buy 5K. I don't think Trump is coming onto the exchange for a bit. It's a long program. So what are you saying? It'll be like a 45-minute interview with Trump? Dude, it's going up to 70. Holy shit. I mean, I'll definitely put up a 55-cent bid. Holy, it's down to 70? $58? Let me pull up CNBC before I buy anymore.
But they don't necessarily want to be part of the U.S. And so we'll see how this plays out now. You've got a European Council meeting on Thursday. That's all the leaders of the European Union countries. We'll see where they come down on
Why is this paused?
They have up to $93 billion of further sanctions, tariffs and other economic means they could use on us. There's also something called an anti-coercion instrument that the French would like to implement, which would be a real, they call it sort of the nuclear option in trade deals, which could hit U.S. foreign direct investments and many other things. I don't think it will go that far. We are now in deal-making territory.
Wait,
the question
something's
is whether the
happening
president
with
is
this
willing to stand down
roll Discord argument. That's good for me if I have 2,500 no shares.
Ambassador Burns,
I don't know
as
what
the
the
U.S.
hell
and
is
Europe have
happening.
been kind of trading comments back and forth and tariff threats back and forth over this, it's been pretty quiet from China and Russia. Is that strategic? Or how should we expect, ultimately, if we're casting this as a threat from those nations, how should we expect them to respond?
Well, the Chinese and Russians
Trump
probably
isn't
don't
coming
want
on
to
till
interrupt,
3, people are saying.
as the United States has so markedly hurt our relationship with Europe. I think that's probably their strategy, because if in effect we're looking
get
at a
confused on
rupture,
whether
and
you're
that's
buying
what Prime Minister Carney of Canada said yesterday,
asks
not
or
a transition.
bids. If you're market buying, you're buying asks. Asks are what they're willing to sell it to you for. A bid is if you're buying through a limit order. Okay, I don't know what's happening with this trading pause. People are trying to figure out what the hell's going on. Trump is going to be interviewed at 3. So I think they're going to adjust the time maybe to 3. Open the White House stream? What is White House streaming? I don't see White House streaming. Is White House streaming? What? What's the Discord? Go into Kalshi Ecosystems Twitter bio. That's where they have the Kalshi Discord. You guys should all be in the Kalshi Discord if you're not. It's like where everybody talks. There's no White House stream. They want Greenland to... Oh, you're saying that they're trying to say that last White House stream should count for the exchange because it was CNBC? Or am I crazy? I think this is good for us, but I don't know. Let's see what people are saying. You can get to the Discord in Kalshi Ecosystems Twitter's bio. I'm not going to send you guys a link because you guys shouldn't trust links, even though it would be coming from me. I don't know. I don't want you guys clicking links because then people, you know what I mean? I don't want you guys to like start. You should never click links people give you if you didn't know. But if you go to the Kalshi Ecosystem Twitter account, there's a link in there to a Discord server. That's Kalshi's Discord. And they have the mention market channel in there is where everybody is always talking about mentions. That's where I'm like, that's what I'm always looking at whenever I'm like looking away on stream. People are saying it might be Greenland, yes, all others no. We might be looking good on our no crypto BTC position. We'll see. Might have been a $500 print there. We are monitoring the situation on... We are currently monitoring the situation on a potential rules cuck. We will provide updates as we get more information on the rules cuck. So the market has to stay open. People are saying till 2 p.m. All strikes are paused. But it's looking good for crypto BTC no holders. Let's see what happens.
That the one thing that one can't forget, and I talked to one of a close friend of President Trump's last week, is he thinks of himself as almost a reincarnation of President.
If it voids, do yes holders get screwed? Potentially. That's why it always pays to be a no holder, you know? Has there been any pre-recorded clips aired on the exchange yet? Let me go. I actually don't know because I can't see back in time. I didn't watch it in the beginning, but people are saying that a clip of him maybe saying Greenland aired. I still don't know exactly what's happening, Phantom. I'm trying to figure this out. But apparently Trump is not going on the exchange until 3 p.m., they're now saying. What is Moonlight talking about here? Let me see. People are trying to argue that it's going to go all no's, basically. But I'm trying to understand why. I think they're trying to say, oh, okay, here's what it is. They're saying this is a market they created for his interview on CNBC's The Exchange. But now they're saying he's going to air on another show on CNBC. So people are arguing, I guess they thought he was going to air, the interview was going to air on Exchange, but it's actually going to air on some other CNBC show. So people are now arguing that every strike outside of any pre-recorded clips just played now during the Exchange should not count and go no. That's my understanding of the rules, Cook. But trading just got paused. So I guess they're going to make a decision at 2 p.m. I don't know. But look, crypto Bitcoin no holders. This is not bad for us, okay? As long as they don't air any crypto Bitcoin
nobody
clips.
seriously thought we were going.
I think we're okay. Didn't Loxy get cooked in something similar? I don't know. I guess they delayed it or something. So CNBC now has something they say is going to air with Joe Kernan at 2 p.m., which is obviously separate from the Exchange because the Exchange ends at 2 p.m. This is quite... Would they give our positions back or just resolve the all no, though? I don't know. It's pretty hard to give positions back on exchanges, so I don't know how they do it. They've done both before. Feels like if anything, Exchange may air additional clips from its appearances earlier today. Why is the market paused if the show is still going on? Because the market was created for his interview on the Exchange. So, like, them just playing clips is not, like, the intention of the market. It's going to be based off his interview with Joe Kernan that's happening in 40 minutes. Chuck this up, bro. Did you send me something? They would have to create a new market for Joe Kernan then because the current one is locked to the Exchange. Yeah, that's what people are saying. That's where the confusion happens. No idea where this is going to go. We're monitoring the situation. Serial saying, man, what's going on today? It's just been wild. It's been a fun day of mentions, man. Is there some kind of impending doom happening?
Natural gas, the world needs oil, and so Schlumberger and Apache are going to benefit from that trend.
The promos advertised Joe Kernan as part of an interview on the Exchange.
I'm told they're opening a second sphere in Maryland. Is that right?
That's the rumor.
Why that location? Why not
so
something?
So that'll be the third, by the way.
Third.
That'll be the third. The Dubai will probably be the second. It's going to be a smaller location. It's going to be a 6,000 seat location, and people are very excited about that because it's capital light for the sphere. The Dolans will not have to put in a lot of money for that. We're going to see that Wizard of Oz has been a spectacular success, breaking all expectations of attendance. And so if we can do that, I say we as an owner of the sphere, I think if we can show that this can work in a smaller venue, then I think the number of spheres that could be built is frankly at least double digits.
My parents would love that. So you're planting a seed here, maybe a future gift idea. Charlie, thanks so much. Appreciate it today.
So it's a
Charlie
CNBC
Babrinski with
rug pull,
Ariel.
because
Coming up,
CNBC
investors
said
are
it'd be
also
1 to
watching
2
the
p.m.
developments in the race for Fed chair. We'll have the latest and the highlights from the Supreme Court hearing on the president's bid to fire Fed Governor
They
Lisa
might talk
Cook.
about
Stocks are pairing their
CNBC
earlier
and,
gains, but even at the highs,
or
we're
they might
not
talk
fully
about the
stemming
Fed chair.
yesterday's losses. The Nasdaq
Interesting.
down more than 2% in the past 2 days. You heard Charlie's concern about the big caps there. The S&P down.
Yeah, literally, CNBC posted a clip of it being 1 p.m. on the exchange. This is CNBC's fault. I don't know what's happening. I'm just gonna keep exchange open in case Trump comes out. It'll be the Davos talking points, I feel. I just wish I could have slammed more crypto BTC. No, I was going to take this to 5K. It got all the way down to 70 cents. I don't know. I just feel like this is a generational opportunity to buy crypto BTC. No. I mean, the guy says it this morning, so obviously it's going to be inflated. He said it as part of like a super long ramble. This is probably going to be somewhat clipped. Bitbop, I had limits up to buy like 5K. I was gonna launch more. I was trying to buy No, and then they paused trading. I was trying to get like a little more information before I bought No. I know it's small. The real generational opportunity is gonna be Super Bowl announcer mention, man. I'm gonna have at least 10K on that. I was trying to buy more, Bitbop. I'm just trying to get information now. Will be generational op for you? Do you have a ton of no's? Oh, you're saying the Super Bowl? Oh my gosh, yeah, that's gonna be insane for what you do. Holy cow. I mean, I had like 20K on this last announcer. Do you have a daily profit quota you aim for, or does it vary? It varies like dramatically. Because you can't always win. So you're just going to go up, down, up, down, up, down, you know, but obviously long term you want to go up. So no, I don't have like specific target quotas. You know, I just try to make money, and I try to you know, size up when I can. I try to push myself to size up because I usually end up not sizing up. Is the Super Bowl good for liquidity reasons, or are you excited about Strike Alpha? Yeah, I mean, Super Bowl it will be great for liquidity reasons, and mostly because the flow, right? You're going to have so many new users that are going to want to buy certain strikes, and there is just not there's just not enough makers for the announcer mentions to like keep the prices efficient. Trying to get a mention market on the Honnold climb. I don't know. That one's going to be sketchy. I don't think Kalshi could ever list something like the Honnold climb because the guy could literally die. And you can't have like contracts, obviously, around stuff like that if you're registered with the CFTC, you know. But all right, so CNBC has a 2 p.m. interview scheduled with Joe Kernan live stream. I think, to be honest, that they're going to resolve the market based off of the CNBC 2 p.m. thing. All right, well, if that's the case, we got a half-hour waiting room. What else is today? Jacob Frey, News Nation. There's a part 2 News Nation interview at 10 p.m. Holy. Oh shit. Max is on my side. He bought crypto BTC yes during his World Economic Forum meeting this morning. Now he's on my side on nose. Okay, let me push my, I'll comment my screenshot. Why is market paused? Because there was a coup attempt. There was a rules cuck coup attempt. Do I do the 15-minute crypto markets? I would not advise to do the crypto 15-minute markets. I mean, they're fun markets. If you want to have fun, participate. But unless you're like a maker, you're making them, I am questionable on the ability to be profitable in the long run on crypto 15-minute markets. I will say that. If you want to focus. Frib was in there the other day? What is Frib doing in there? Yes, crypto did hit this morning, Audie. It hit during his World Economic Forum speech. Man, I'm trying to keep up with all the FUD going on. Market was going crazy when he was talking? You think people thought that... Which market? Like the World Economic Forum? Well, John, trading unfortunately got paused. But all I'm holding is just a ton of no crypto BTC. I have about 2K at 78. Was going to try to get more if it got in this down to 70, but... Trading got paused because people are disputing what is happening for this market. People are disputing if this counts or not. If I ever looked into head coach markets, yeah. I looked into them pretty close around Lane Kiffin's departure and like who Lane would go, what team he would go for. But I haven't watched him since, even though there's been a ton of NFL stuff. I'm just not enough in the know. All right, I still have CNBC open. I'm trying to...
Remains a board that is largely not made up of Trump appointees.
So if she's not fired and if he stays, then Trump loses the board majority. I see.
Exactly.
Okay.
Then he's got 3 out of the 7 instead of 4 out of the 7. And that really is important, Kelly. A lot of things can happen with a board majority.
Absolutely.
So the market's watching that very carefully.
All right, Dave, thanks for bringing it to a point for us. We appreciate it. David Zervos joining us from Jefferies today.
Joe Kernan's a good
Coming
interviewer.
up, the home builders are coming off their worst day in more than 2 months as the president signed.
Well, he better not ask him about freaking Bitcoin. Better just stay on topic. You think there's a fair chance he's going to ask him about crypto Bitcoin? I mean, look, I'm happy that people feel this way because then I can fill no's at 70 cents. I just... I don't know. I can't complain. Maybe you're right. Maybe I'll get rinsed. Crypto BTC is always so overvalued. I don't know what it is about the strike and people thinking that Trump is going to want to talk crypto. Man, Melania is really high in the weekly. Trump, yes or no? You mean like Trump to say Trump? I haven't traded yes or no, but after this morning, he'd ask questions about what Trump said. Dude, Trump yapped for 1 second. He said one single line on crypto BTC. Like, did you hear the rest of his speech for 2 hours? All he'll otherwise talk about is that we're the hottest country. We've deported all these people with ICE. Our border's stronger than ever. Do I like Trump? I mean, that's a very difficult question. I love Trump in the sense that prediction markets probably wouldn't exist if Trump didn't win. We wouldn't have this many mentioned markets. So, like, do I like him as a person? Do I like his policies? Do I like how, like, you know what I mean? Like, sure, I could say, like, you know, oh, I hate Trump because of things he's doing. But at the same time, you know, if I'm selfish, I have to be like, I kind of like Trump because I get all these mentioned markets. I get all this, but you know what I mean? That's just me being selfish of like self-interested. So. Can't bite the hand that feeds you, exactly. Davos, he kept saying Iceland instead of Greenland. Yeah, he said that in his speech yesterday, too, in the press briefing. He was saying Iceland instead of Greenland. Well, I'm sad trading is paused. I wonder... My take is that they're going to resolve based off the 2 p.m. Joe Kernan interview. I think when in doubt, they always try to resolve, like, to what will... I feel like they tend to rule in a way that will be, you know, like make people not feel taken advantage of, right? And if they ruled everything no, people are obviously going to complain. Only 62K in trading volume so far. If Calstrum's clean state would have burned, Calstrum should refund people. I don't think they do a refund over this, to be honest. But I think they're just going to rule off 2 p.m. What would I recommend for someone with a smaller port? What to focus on to grow portfolio? I mean, I think you should stay laser focused on like a niche, obviously. I'm somewhat biased, but the niche I usually recommend is mentioned markets. Because, you know, if you take them pretty seriously, do a lot of research, they are priced really kind of inefficient and just wrong sometimes. So there's definitely a lot of opportunity in mentions, but you know, if mentions aren't your speed, it's like you can gravitate towards other markets you know a lot about, I guess. Yeah, I mean, honestly, 500 to 1K is like not even a small port to start with. I would start, like I always recommend not starting with like more than $100 if you're new, just trying to go from there and learn, because you're going to make a ton of mistakes in the beginning. There's no way you're going to come in and just be profitable, you know? You're going to lose money in the beginning. You're going to make a ton of mistakes. Mentions are like playing roulette. I don't know about that one. You literally cannot have an edge in roulette. Like, it's impossible. Over the long run, you're just always going to lose money. But I mean, I don't know. I guess I don't know. Maybe you meant something otherwise. How could they change the 2 p.m. interview if the market explicitly states the exchange, which will be over by then? Look, I don't know. Maybe they won't. I just think they're going to, you know, if there's no interview at 1 p.m. and the interview is actually at 2 p.m., I think they're probably going to, like, reschedule it to Thanos with all the Infinity Stones. Look at this. Dustin's total deposits, $426. Lost $291 learning and messing up. Since turned $135 to $2,300. See, that's like the exact story of like people who found success, how it goes. You're going to lose money in the beginning. because you're going to naturally mess up trying to learn how an exchange works, which is why I always say starting extremely small. But now he's run it up. But now, Dustin, you've grown a small port to a respectable port. Now you got to make the leap, start sizing up, and growing that to like 10K, 20K. You know, that's when you're going to get that crazy growth. It's time to lock in.
$0, and then minus on top. Because the moment I thought I had an edge in sports betting, well, I quit.
Have traded super conservative mentions, but starting to size up and hold position till resolution more often rather than selling out early for guaranteed profits. Yeah, I mean both are decent. You'll find, like, to be honest, guys, if you have a tiny portfolio, like if you have like $100, I mean, I say this as someone who's traded mentions for a year and a half, right? So I'm gonna have a different intuition and just know-how of doing it, but like it's actually like unbelievably easy to be profitable with a really small port, because like there will just be like stupid bids at like 15, 30. Like that Mamdani speech, you could literally just put bids to buy at like 15 cents and then get filled and then just sell it at 25 cents and make like 50% of your money during live speech. It's just kind of market making, as long as you're bidding yeses, not nos. So there's like dumb stuff you could do to just grow your port in the beginning. I guess I would maybe try to be less like thinking about like predicting something and more so just thinking about like, okay, I'm an exchange. How can I like profit on the ups and downs and stuff like that, you know? Kind of thinking a little more like trading kind of, you know, where you're like in and out and kind of less focus on like, will someone say something? More so like, okay, during the speech, maybe the odds will move lower than they should for something, you know, I don't know, yada, yada. Like if there's going to be Q&A, things like that. Yeah, that's the way, Dustin. You just got to find good spots, you know? You can literally snipe stuff and sell right away for profits with limit orders. Yeah, exactly. And you can honestly do that with like size. Like during the announcer mention last weekend, when stuff was happening in the game, I sniped like, I don't know if snipe isn't the right word, but like I filled like 5 or 6K shares live during the game in like 2 minutes on something at a stupid price. I told someone to find Lowe's, and this user is Zool. Oh my gosh. I have to send this. That is so funny. Yeah, Azul is hilarious. He's just messing around, all right? Azul is just having fun. He's just having a good time. Yeah, they always say that, Rodriguez, because obviously, you know, they don't want, you know, people to to come in or whatever. You know, people want to keep their alpha, right? But to be honest, what's my Twitch? Oh, let me see if I can pull it up on Twitch. I don't even ever go on my Twitch, to be honest. But I assume it always streams there from Restream. Let me... Here. Karsten, I saw you just hit 100K, by the way. Hell yeah. There's my Twitch. I bet you, was your 100K like a ton in the last few months? Like you've just like gone parabolic somewhat? Yeah, crazy lately. I know. It's the same way for me, where it's just like the last few months, last few weeks have just been insanity. Is cable the fastest for NBA and NFL, or is it YouTube TV? I don't know. I defer to Azul. That's a Azul question. People already have like very fast data for NFL and NBA, so if this is for the announcer mentions you're talking about and like sniping those, you'll probably never be fast enough, unfortunately. Because people have it like built out and automated. But that's just for like sniping words during an event, I guess. Nice. 30K around election, 40K. Are you playing mentions more actually now, Karsten? Or are you still mostly politics? Sports is the most sharp market for sure. Yeah, 100%. Anytime you have a market that's highest volume, deepest liquidity, naturally it's going to be the most efficient. Made bank on the Netflix call from tips from yesterday's Trump speech. Nice. Earnings calls are kind of difficult to be profitable, so just in the sense that you have to do a lot of research. All right, 14 minutes till this supposed speech is going to air. We will see now. What will they count versus not count? They sent emails on the market? All right, let's see. What are they doing? They really send emails? All right, I'm going to check. Oh, clarification. Wait up. What does this mean? So wait, let me interpret this. Hey there, you're receiving these emails, keep it traded. This market has been paused, resting orders have been cleared. The address of this event will be the initial broadcast of the CNBC Joe Kernan interview with Donald Trump. If the interview is not broadcast before January 22nd, the market will resume trading at 145. Okay, so they're going to do it based off of the Joe Kernan interview. So I was right. Yeah, exactly, Carson. That's just the way it is, honestly. Like, fast resolving stuff is... Predicting is not as fun as, you know, finding these, like, angles. You know what I mean? Or maybe not as profitable. I'm not a very good predictor. All right, so it's going to air based off the Joe Kernan interview. So this might be bad for us, actually. I don't know. But I think trading's resumed. All right, it resumed, but I can't see the order book. What's going on here? I guess I still can't see the order book. Foster's saying, I do not think book was clear. Foster's feeling blindly. You're feeling Foster. Alright, I guess I'll put a limit up. Let's get some more no crypto BTC. Let's see if I can keep filling. I put a bid up at 75. Will I continue to fill? Foster, ride with me on no crypto BTC. Come on. Come on. Let's hit it. I'm getting filled. There's no order books. Oh my god, this is hilarious. Foster, I got some at 75. Foster, come on, get at least 3K of crypto BTC no. Okay? No being a wimp in this spot. Okay, you get an electric spot. Okay, apparently the order book's on the app, but I can't look on the app. So maybe just web doesn't have the order books? This is so funny. So order books are on the app but not on the web, I guess. Trading blind here. I can still pull my bid though, right? Yeah. See, I got some fills. People are saying they can see it. Can I see it now? I definitely can't see it. I've reloaded so many. 1K ask at 80. Keep in mind Joe may mention Bitcoin reserve to Trump. Dude, no, he's not. Like, what? Of all the things you could ask the President of the United States about, Bitcoin reserve? I feel like people are just like terminally online around like crypto stuff. So I don't know if you come from a crypto background, but like, look, maybe he could do that, but like, think probabilistically. I don't know. Like, that seems insane to me that it's 25%, that he would bring something up about Bitcoin with the President of the United States. I mean, anything can happen, but I don't know. At 25, I just have to take it to the max. Not the max, but I have to get a big position. If I lose, I lose. I will take this loss on the chin. But this is the finance Cnbc guys talking to? Yes, but our president is talking about acquiring Greenland, a foreign country right now. He's launching tariffs on the EU to acquire Greenland. He has ICE agents running around the country. Like, there's just like, there's so many things they could talk about. And it's like, really? You're going to ask him about some dumb Bitcoin stuff? He hasn't actually done anything for Bitcoin or crypto, you know? It's like, it's all just random. The one time he's ever brought it up was this. Zephyr still can't see the order book. Someone's saying they can see the order book on PC. too much alpha. Look, all I'm telling people, look at my nice order books. Order books work for you? They work for you on app or on computer? Okay, maybe I need to just like log out. Let me post a good meme at least. Oh, you're based outside the US, that's why? What's the TLDR with this market? John Chung, this has been a crazy market, all right? Here's what happened. So first, this was supposed to air on CNBC with the exchange show at 1 p.m. And then, that's what CNBC advertised. And then, the exchange started, and then they're like, we're actually going to be interviewing Trump later. So it wasn't airing on the exchange. So then a bunch of people were trying to get it to where it would all resolve no, because he's not airing on the exchange. He's airing on the CNBC at like 2 p.m. as part of another show. But what Kalshi did was they paused trading so that people wouldn't kind of try to rules cuck it. And now they just updated the rules, issued a clarification that it's going to resolve based on the 2 p.m. Meeting. Everybody's saying, where's the order book? All right, I guess I have to clear cache. Let me hide all my windows and everything. I don't want to show anything. Okay, we're going completely dark. I can't risk anything showing on stream. Okay. So... yeah, it works on phone, just not on app. Shouldn't there have been a short opportunity? I don't think people like bonded it that hard. Here, I bet you it'll work if I do a different browser. Let's see. Okay. Oh no. Check my phone. Okay. We're fixing this. All right. And we are... wait, why can't it? You remove it. We're back. We are back. Is Kalshi available in Europe? I think so. It might only be available in certain like countries in Europe. All right. CNBC interview. Think we got order books back. I still don't have order books. Wait. Are you in the US, Audie? Dude, I have the market here. It's right here. It just won't show order books. This is the market. All right, we're going in blind. We're going in blind. No order books. Who needs an order book? No, I did. Guys, I closed this web. I opened a brand new web browser. I re-logged into Kalshi with a cleared cache because it's a new browser that wasn't even logged into Kalshi. And it still doesn't show for me. I don't know. Whatever. We'll go in blind. I can still bid some more, so I'll put a bid up. Let's go. 78. 396. Okay. Oh, wait, this is about to start, by the way. This is about to start. All right. See if we get any last minute fills. But this is about to start. I gotta get ready to pull. Let me pull chat back up. Okay, here we go. This is starting in a minute. I will not have order books, but we'll get through it. Take your camera off, use your phone, also get an actual camera. What camera do I get, Dustin? You need to send me advice on how to get a camera. I still use my phone. And then people call me when I'm streaming and my phone, my camera vibrates. What's up, Lars Barth? Okay, this is about to start any second now. Yeah, it is going to be live. This is on web, so I can stream it. It's not behind a... It's not like copyright to my knowledge, because it's on YouTube. All right. We're just going to be watching, hoping to sweat out no crypto Bitcoin, I guess. I have an order up, but I don't think I'm going to get any more fills. How long is this interview? Probably 45 minutes, an hour. I don't know. It is going to be long, so I hope that he like clips. They're still waiting the interview to wrap up. Okay. So they're still waiting Trump to come out. Will we get more no fills? I don't think so. No's are getting up to 82. Yeah. I think interviews can be pre-recorded. But the fact if they're really showing the interview now, to me it's like they're not going to cut much maybe. I doubt insiders be in attendance at because it's like a Davos thing, you know. I mean, how would you really go to Davos for like some small mention market? These are all probably like multi-millionaires, no? Wait, is there also a TV show that's airing this? I am so confused. I gotta pull up CNBC. I probably shouldn't have any bids up.
Because Denmark was supposed to populate it. Denmark was supposed to operate it in a much more geostrategic fashion, and they've just failed to do so. So in the end, we have to have
confused at what's happening.
Greenland, and I think we'll end up negotiating a financial transaction where we're able to acquire it.
There has been a pushback in the markets. There's been some talk that maybe Europe sells stocks, they sell bonds. You look at, maybe not Denmark, but Norway, one of the biggest sovereign
A lot of
wealth
talks
funds
on
in the
Greenland
world.
already.
They used to sort of co-possess Greenland with Denmark, Norges Bank. Do you see some
It's
kind
so
of
funny using this without order
financial
books.
pushback or punch in the face or whatever you
Going
want to
no
call
on
it
any market
from
is
Europe
risky. 'Cause of
around
the-
Greenland?
Yeah, I mean,
that would
that's
impact
true.
Our
It's
financial
just,
markets?
dude, crypto, Bitcoin, no.
Brian, as
I
you
have
know, we are 4%
been
of the
in
world's
this game for a year and a
population.
half, and every
We
time I
are
don't hammer it, I
25%
feel
of the world's
regret.
GDP, and we are 60%
Look,
of the
if I-
world's
if I
capital
lose it
markets. We have
2
the most
grand here,
liquid, deepest
whatever.
markets in the world. We also have the highest interest rates of any developed nation. If someone
I
is
honestly
going
need to
shoot
slam
their
it
nose
more.
off
I need to
despite
size
their
up,
face,
if anything. I should
you
have
know,
like
be our
5K,
guest.
but I
Our
can't get any more
treasury
fills
market
at like
trades $1 trillion
78.
a day. It just doesn't matter. But what it would signal is that they don't understand the enormity of the threat that China, Russia, Iran, et al. Are actually responsible for against the
So
West.
if they actually
And so
air this
I
on
think it's
CNBC
vital
and on this
for us
YouTube
to-
live
and
stream,
it's vital for the
I
president to
think
explain
people
it a
are
little bit better,
debating.
to the world. I watched the speech in Davos, and he
Like,
went a little further in this
what
speech
this will
than I've
count
seen
for,
him go in
whether
other
it's,
speeches. But he needs to explain why Greenland is so important to us, why
Like-
it's important to the security in the West, and that in the end, we're going to make a financial deal with Denmark that takes care of the 57,000 Greenlanders.
AI, yes,
and,
too high?
We keep
I don't
operating
think so.
the
I
way
think
we're operating.
when you're
We're
talking
gonna-
about the
we're
economy,
going to
that's like a big
continue
talking
to
point.
provide security for the West using Greenland. But at Greenland, you've got Arctic shipping lanes, you've got potential missiles coming over the top, and we also have heavy
Wait,
rare
I have to
earths,
also
and there are
load this
plenty
up
of
on
things
News
that we
Nation.
can
There's
do
another
with
Trump
Greenland
interview,
to
I guess,
help
News
drive
Nation.
that economy in a more advantageous manner,
Oh.
while we're also defending the West and defending our homeland. I think it's look,
Oh my
if you even
gosh.
look back, you gave the
Give me
history, but
more.
if you look back to Clinton, Bush, Obama, I mean, they spent a lot of time increasing Arctic security and spending a lot of money on our
No, I
assets in
immediately
Greenland.
get jumped to
And,
86, this
we don't
guy.
get anything in return for that other than
When does this
other
air,
than
though?
providing security to
Is this
ourselves
stupid
and
to have
others.
such large
In the
orders
end, we
up
need it.
here? It probably is.
Kyle, some are pointing to the
Yeah, I'm not going to have a
president's
3K
approval
order
ratings,
up
which
here.
have
There's not
dropped,
enough.
in the last few days as this has
I'll
come
put a
up.
1K order up.
Just from a very realpolitik point of view, with the midterms arriving,
In case, like, a
the
clip
focus was
comes out or
supposed to be on
something, I don't wanna
affordability,
get
kind of
rinsed.
take that, it looks like
This guy
the
immediately
Democrats
jumps me to
probably take
86. Who
Congress,
is he?
obviously at this point, but
Jumps
can you
me to
just walk
88.
through if there's any implications
Jumps me to
from
89.
this move connected to whatever might happen with
Let's
the
go
midterms,
90.
connected back to the market
Boom.
often having one of
90
these
is
weak
his set point.
stretches
I'll take it at
in
90.
a midterm year, kind of in that summer period. Are we just pulling all of that forward right now?
Yeah, I mean, are you saying that this move on Greenland is some sort of counterbalance for the Republicans' position in the midterms? I think if you look at what the Trump administration is doing, you just take a few steps back and you see that when the big beautiful bill passed, they added $200 billion to special defense acquisition projects that go from critical minerals to shipbuilding to enhancing, call it America's best and brightest private companies, and having them coming in to help the Department of War with our readiness. So if you actually look at what this administration is doing,
I would take yes
behind the
AI before I
scenes,
took
they're
no
acting
AI,
like
though, to answer
they're
your
on
question.
wartime footing. On the front of the scene,
I'm glad that
we haven't said
that
anything
crypto
to
tweet's
escalate,
running so hard,
the
because now all these
situation with
people are
China
going to be
since
like, Trump
October.
said crypto
I believe there was
Bitcoin.
a
Like, it's just, it's
presidential
pumping all
directive
these
to
other
basically
markets.
press pause during the
It's
hostage
beautiful.
negotiation, meaning, us sending them NVIDIA chips or some of our best chips and them sending us rare earth metals. We're currently in a kind of a hostage exchange, and we're trying to get out from under China's thumb, and they're trying to get out from under our thumb. But if you look at this administration carefully, and you look at it objectively, what you'll see is they're acting like they're on wartime footing at the Department of War, at the Treasury, at State Department, and I think that is the wisest thing they can possibly do, because we're staring down the barrel of a potential Chinese invasion of Taiwan. And if you listen to Xi Jinping's speeches, including his New Year's address, he's telling you that he's going to take it, and that would be an absolute catastrophe for the West.
I want to switch gears. You just talked about China. I want to look that way, though, to Japan. Yesterday, we led this show,
Japan.
Kyle, talking about how
Yeah, I think-
Japan, we thought, was the real reason the markets
Even though this
was that
guy is like a
Greenland-
trader,
Greenland's a big
this is
issue,
gonna be way more
but sort of
focused
this
on like
underlying liquidity problem in Japan. Sellers by primary dealers, you have 33 of
geopolitical
them,
stuff and how that
may be the
impacts
real
markets.
reason.
Manufacturing, yes, at current
Japanese
prices.
bond yields are the highest in what, Kelly?
Trump doesn't say it that
27,
much, to be
almost
honest.
30 years. I know,
know.
Kyle, you've talked a lot about Japan. In plain English, what the heck's going on there? Why do we care?
Yeah, so it's really important. Again, take a few steps back. I know every day we want to talk about what's happening in the day. Yesterday was a big move, so I'm not knocking you for that. But it's important to think about this is the largest peacetime accumulation of debt globally that we've ever seen. And historically, when sovereigns would gather as much debt as we have, we'd both be deficit spending.
Last speech, I
into
got
a
rinsed on
potential
manufacturing,
conflict,
weaved
and
it
then
over and
to the
over.
winner go the spoils, and to
Yeah,
the loser goes
that's kind of how I
defeat
feel
and default,
too.
as
I
Germany
just-
and Japan
I
have
don't
shown
think
us in
he's,
World
like,
War I
used
and
that
World War
language
II.
that much lately.
So we're at this peacetime accumulation of debt.
Oh, yeah, was that
where
helpful,
Japan
Dumbo?
is in a trap, right? They're north of
On the,
250% debt to GDP.
what was happening with this
They
freaking
can't allow
market.
their short rates to move up. And
There's
COVID
been
just
so
happened,
many
and
disputes
we
lately.
grew the Fed's
It's hard to
balance
keep
sheet from
track.
4 trillion to 9 trillion in 2 years. We created 50% dollar inflation for the world.
But I guess
Japan had to let one of two things
there's gonna
happen.
be another
Had to let the bond
dispute,
market go,
Dumbo,
you
because
can't
if they
be pegged at
air,
0 rates and
if they
have
air the
50%
full
inflation hit
stream
you, or
on
you let
YouTube
your
of the
currency
full
go.
interview,
So
that's
the
different
Japanese
from the
yen
one
went
on
from 100 to
CNBC,
160.
the
So the
TV,
Japanese
like on
lost
TV station
60%
cable.
of their dollar purchasing
Isn't that
power
going to get disputed? Has that
during
been
the
defined?
COVID move in the yen, and now
Don't
we're
know.
starting to see their long end, so 10-year to 30-year JGBs are kind of flapping in the wind. They do have a lot of their economy financed on the front end, meaning the short end, but from 0 to 10, even the 10-year JGB is moving up pretty materially in yield. There's not as much as the 30 and the 40-year bond. So Japan's in a trap. They're going to have to let their currency continue to depreciate, or they're going to let their bonds move. I don't believe they can let their bonds move much more, Brian.
You see order book? Okay, let me
checkmate
refresh.
If they let their bonds move.
Yeah, what did John Arnold say, the natural
Oh,
gas billionaire?
I still don't
He
see it.
quoted Hemingway, Kelly. There's 2 ways to go bankrupt. Gradually, then suddenly.
One of the
Let's
great
see, let
lines
me
of all
try it
time.
if I
Okay,
go
look
on
at-
Chrome.
Was that? I think that was a movable feast. Online. All right, Kyle Bass, thank you very much. Appreciate that. And we'll figure
I
out
can
the
see order
Hemingway.
books. Okay.
Pleasure to be here.
Let me close this
Always
window
has such a
again.
nice way of framing things. The largest peacetime buildup of debt. I mean, that's a striking thing to think
That
about.
says something.
It does. Coming up, how could Greenland, Europe, and Iran all play out on the energy front? We are going to ask these questions to none other than Dan Yergin as crude breaks above 60 a barrel again after the break.
Okay. Wait, oh, this is the News Nation one. Maybe I still can't see the order book, actually.
In a world of uncertainty and disruption, how will your investments stay resilient? We've
Come
been navigating
on.
change for 125
Yes. Order
years.
book is
always
back.
looking forward, anticipating
Let's
risks,
go. Okay, there's a huge bid on top of
and
me at
trusted
80.
to manage over
That's why I
$1
wasn't getting
trillion
fills.
in assets worldwide. Solving for the needs of investors today and tomorrow. That's the power of Nuveen.
Let's see what Ideas says. He said AI? I love these people just commenting. Like, I'm like, are you actually going to watch the event? Did he say Biden? What is this?
They killed her brother.
I think he
shot
said
her
AI.
And they took her hostage for 400 days and terrifying nights. They raped her. They put guns to her head. They starved her. These are the stories of Israeli women attacked by Hamas. If you are supporting Hamas,
All
and
I'm
you
on,
oppose
Ivan, is no
Palestinians,
crypto BTC.
This is what you are
I have
supporting.
like 2K on
Choose
it
freedom, not terror.
personally.
The story begins in
Prices
ancient
kind of
Greece
moved. I was trying to get
and
more,
travels
but somebody
across
put. I
oceans,
think this is probably
across
Foster.
mountains, across time.
I told him to put a bid up.
The hero's journey, facing trials, persevering against all odds. An epic quest to fulfill one's destiny has led here to northern Italy.
Loxy's going in on oil and gas.
Continues at the 25th
Man.
Olympic Winter Games.
Look, if you're an executive, this shirt is a must-have in your closet. I was tired of floppy collars and shirts with sweat stains, so I got this shirt I saw on TV, and now I don't have to worry. I got it shipped in no time, and I switched from regular polos to this immediately. The brand is called Collars & Co. They make a regular stretchy golf shirt, but the top has a firm collar on it. I got rid of so many problems by upgrading to this. No dry cleaning needed anymore. I'm free from uncomfortable long sleeves.
Loxy's
and
been
the
doing
collars
pretty
stay
well.
stiff all day.
What is he at now?
Get 20% off today using code TV at collarsandco.com.
We recommend
Holy
TimberTech 100% of the time when
He's
we're
at
working on a
19K
waterfront
profit?
or dock area. It's a low maintenance product,
Dude,
and it's
he was
resistant
at 10K
to the
like
weather. It's
a
something
week
that's
ago.
going to be here for a very long time.
Good for him, dude. He's
TimberTech,
been
it's
killing
everything
it.
wood should be for docks.
Holy cow.
The scent won't
19K.
stop you stinking. You need the right tool for the job. Mando makes sure that your armpits are up to code. Don't mask it. Mando it.
All right, welcome back. Let's talk energy because as the world, as usual with highly valuable commodities, let's be honest,
this thing
has
seems
a
like it's
number
gonna
of
be pretty
red-hot
freaking delayed.
hotspots. You've got Venezuela. What happens now? You got Iran violently crushing protests. The UN saying thousands of civilians may have been killed, and now Trump's talk around Greenland getting others worked up as well. Oil.
Any
it's
chance
up,
that all
many
this doesn't
oil
air?
stocks, they're also
I mean,
up. The
there's always a
XOP
chance, right?
Oil ETF.
Is it likely?
It's up about
Probably not.
3% today.
But
all this as the
am I on no
International
shares?
Energy
Yes.
Agency continues to capitulate.
So I wouldn't mind if it
and is
didn't
now
air.
raising its global oil demand growth profile, but warning that supply is still expected to outpace consumption. Of course, the IEA's forecasting ability, let's say, has not been the best the last couple of years.
Order
Let's
seems
talk about
mispriced,
all of this
like
from
it's too
Davos
cheap.
with Daniel Yergin. He is vice chairman of S&P Global. Out late in the cold. We appreciate it, Dan. Thank you very much for joining us. Put on that big brain. Venezuela, Iran, Kazakhstan's having some issues right now. What is your best take on how these global scenarios play out?
Well, I think I like Brian, your use of the word capitulate to describe the IEA. They did raise their forecast.
Is crypto
on demand,
mispriced?
And I think that's probably one of the things that's in the price.
The price has kind of
But
moved
still,
for
you know,
nose.
if you
I
look
got
at the oil price, given the
2K
amount
at
of tension in
78,
the
which I
world,
think was very
it's still,
mispriced. To be
very
honest,
much in
if you can get in at
modest
81, yeah, I still think it's a good buy for
Yeah,
no.
it is, and it looks, you know, we didn't know what was going to happen with Iran. It looks like they put down the protests violently, by the way.
Very violently.
Very violently. Just another hit to the already hit population there. Venezuela, we don't know what's going to happen. But I just added up 4 million barrels a day. You add Kazakhstan, that's a little over another million a day, call it 1.2. So we're talking about 5 million barrels a day theoretically at risk. Do you see a real risk of supply disruption, Dan?
I think not right now. I mean, obviously Venezuela, there's a general feeling that, you know, a few 100,000 barrels could come back in a relatively short time. But the risk is there. But I'll tell you one of the things you feel here. First of all, of course, the tension was lowered when the president said that he's not going to use force on Greenland.
You got crypto now
But
at
the
70?
second thing is you do find a lot of
I got
anxiety
some at
about
70,
Russia
but
here
I wanted to get
about
a
this
lot
sort of
down.
What the German chancellor called
So
that
my
gray
average
area
is 78,
between
which I'm still
war
happy
and
with.
peace. And that tension is
But
something
no
that
at
maybe you don't
70
pick up
is
so much in the
fucking
United States,
crazy,
but
to
it's
be
pretty
honest.
palpable here.
Like, yeah.
What else are you picking up on?
Whenever
Dan,
stuff like this
being there?
happens, right,
It's
where
good to
Trump
see you.
said crypto
and
today,
what impact do you think all of this is going to have?
you have to take that
Well,
into
I think
effect
obviously
of like
what has been the dominating thing is Greenland.
Trump
and the
saying
question
crypto
of
this
where it
morning
plays out, and so the
is
tension,
a generational
was
opportunity
lowered
to
by
where
what-
crypto,
obviously by
yes,
what the
will
president
temporarily
said.
be
Yeah, he
mispriced.
said some interesting things
So you
about
just
energy
have to see
too.
it like
of course,
that
he
and
talked
just-
about
you
gasoline
gotta try to
prices
slam it,
and
you know?
about the amount of electricity
That's my
that's
opinion.
necessary for AI. But one of the things that really caught my attention is he said,
Oh my
there's
gosh,
no,
man, I've
there's
been
no
waiting
rare
for
earth,
this
there's
so
rare
long.
processing.
Come on,
and what he's
Trump.
referring to was the Chinese
Where are
domination
you?
of processing
You're
of
supposed to air
minerals,
it
which we
first
talked
it's supposed
about,
to air
of
at
course,
1
in our
p.m.
new copper study,
Now it's 2
but it's
p.m.
particularly clear in terms of rare
What
earths.
is going on?
There are a lot of rare earths, but the question of processing is something that has really come into focus.
This guy's talking about rare earth
Do
a
you
little
think,
bit.
on that note, Dan, do you believe that the focus on rare earths, as we've highlighted many of these companies in America.
Phantom, what are you
and we
doing
don't
on
need to name
crypto?
names,
Yes.
but they are what they call pre-revenue.
Honestly, that's
Meaning
good
they
for
have a
me.
Plan,
I'm happy
they
with
hope
that.
to do something someday, but at this point, there is no revenue. There are no sales.
I am happy
at
if you're
all.
on crypto,
There may never
yes.
be. We hope that's not the case. But do you feel that the frenzy, for lack of a better word,
Will it be live or recorded? It's definitely going to be pre-recorded. They were recording in Davos.
Given what you just said, the complexity and expense of not
Let's
just
just hope
mining,
Joe Kernan's not
but
asking
what
about
they call
crypto.
refining, because a lot of acid is used. It's environmentally disgusting. It's also dangerous.
Well, I think that it is the question that you don't build this processing capacity overnight by any means. I mean, the big emphasis is how do you diversify the supply chains to make them more resilient. But you know, when we were back last spring, when major automakers and other companies were going to say they're going to have to shut down in a week and a half, the Chinese had really figured out where their weak point was. And it was when I was in China just before Christmas, I came away with a strong sense that the Chinese had been really planning on this, thinking it through since 2018, and they realized where they had the high cards, and it is in the processing of those minerals. There is capacity, for instance, in Europe. When I was just there, you know, there is capacity in different places to process, but it's not a problem that could be solved overnight, because it was not a problem that was created overnight.
Right.
Dan Jurgen joining us from the World Economic Forum. I think we'll leave it there, but we'll get you back on soon when it's not 5 degrees out and dark.
Okay.
Dan, see you soon. Thank you very much.
See you. Bye-bye.
Coming up, talking of trouble across the pond, relations
Man,
between the
are
U.S.
they
and
gonna
Europe
talk
are at
to
a
freaking
crossroads.
Trump?
What might come next,
What
and why
the
it matters
hell?
back here after this.
This is just dragging on, man. They took down the coming up banner. Buy Greenland now? Are you just saying no in the sense like this isn't gonna air?
Constant
They're definitely gonna
Contact's
ask
advanced
about
automation lets you send the right message at the right time, every time.
Are you facing a 2025 capital gains tax bill? Even in 2026, there may be a way to defer those capital gains and potentially enjoy tax-free growth.
How delayed was
Bell
Trump's
Point OZ. Bell Point OZ
World
is
Economic
the
speech
only
due to the
opportunity
AF1
zone fund
turnaround?
traded on an exchange.
I don't know. I didn't trade
Unlike
that one, to
most
be honest.
opportunity zone funds, Bell Point OZ already has assets leasing up.
Yeah, but
Visit
supposedly this speech already
bellpointoz.com
took
to learn how
place.
you may still be able to benefit in 2026 and download our comprehensive white paper today.
Omaha Steaks is America's original butcher.
Hold on, steak voiceover guy. I got this. Omaha Steaks is America's original butcher. But what's that mean? It means all these steaks are USDA certified tender.
Well, she's
God,
right.
Moonlight just hit
Yeah,
300K.
They love
Jesus
it.
Christ.
I love that they love it. This is why you get Omaha Steaks.
Right now, get 4 USDA certified tender steaks free when you visit omahasteaks.com/tender.
Skip the grocery store and
Yeah, skip the grocery store and get Omaha Steaks today.
For a limited time, step into savings with up to 50% off on select styles of beautiful new carpet.
Dude, Moonlight's
and
gonna hit a
floor from
million
Empire
in like
today.
3
Save
months.
big
This
with
guy's
up to
such a
50%
sicko.
off. Plus, we'll beat any competitor's offer, guaranteed. Get
Oh my
Empire's home
God,
floor
dude,
advantage and save
300K.
up to
What the
50%
fuck?
off. Visit
He's just
EmpireToday.com
insane.
or call or text to schedule your free in-home estimate.
Oh my
You know the number.
800-588-2300 Empire.
Today. Here on the internet, you can pretend
Bro
to
is
be
way too
anything.
quiet. What do we do?
Like a medical professional.
What is he doing that we aren't? Well, I mean,
Don't
I know.
trust the unfiltered internet. Angie has 30
I'm
years of
sure-
experience finding
I
the best
I
pros.
can imagine some of the things, but
Job's done well.
yeah, that's insanity. He's now doubling my P&L, even after I've had like a really good month. Crazy, dude.
I always wanted
Is
to
he
teach money
officially
management,
300K?
and that's why we created this club.
This is really a great way when you do not have access to this type of information
Yeah, what is it,
to learn.
Mr.
Get
Moon?
invested. Join the club today. Go to cnbc.com/join-Jim.
Jesus, dude. Moonlight Phantom, dude. 1K to
The European
300K
Union is halting
in
approval
4
of the
months.
trade deal it reached with the U.S. last summer amid the president's
This guy's
tariff threats
just
on Greenland.
so
Here to discuss that and the
insane.
impact of all this growing
He
tension
literally
as
hit
world leaders
200K
convene
like
in Davos is
2
Daniel
weeks ago and
Drezner,
just
who's
made
a
an
professor in
100K.
international politics at Fletcher
He's
School
making
at
like
Tufts
60K
University.
a week minimum.
So
just
I guess
insane.
from the market's point of view, Daniel, they're
Overrated?
most
No,
focused on
dude.
the tariff question, and What would you tell them about
He's
that?
gonna hit $1 million in like
I would tell them that
3 months.
especially given the perception that President Trump
He's at
has
300K
de-emphasized
profit
the
on
military
4.5
option,
mil volume. That's
there's
insanity.
no question that the tariffs are going to be his main way of attempting
So he's
to
done the
coerce
same volume
European
as me.
Union
That's what's even more
into
disgusting.
Granting the United States ownership of Greenland.
What is my volume?
I think there are two wild cards here. The first is to what extent does the Supreme Court weigh
yeah,
in
he's done same
over
volume
the next
as me.
month or two about
Crazy.
whether or not Trump's use of the International Emergency Economic Powers Act to justify this kind of tariff is actually constitutional. There were indications early on in the fall during oral arguments that they were pretty skeptical about that.
Like, doing
If they
that on
take this
mentions
away,
is just
it'll be tougher
so
for Trump to use this particular economic weapon.
insane.
Right.
The second,
Go
sorry.
ahead. Mm-hmm.
The second question is, how will the EU respond? You've already talked about the fact that they've clearly put the transatlantic trade deal on hold. There is something else that they could potentially do. There is an anti-coercion instrument that the EU passed in 2023, designed, frankly, to prevent this very thing from happening.
Can't find this
But
market
they've
of it
never
right now?
used it
Just
before, and it will
search
take
it.
some time for the
It'll come
European
up.
Union to actually try to wheel that bazooka out and actually fire it. But if they start making moves in that direction, then the question is, does the Trump administration, ratchet things up even further?
Right, but I take your point that if he's ruling out military force, then the only other kind of cudgel that remains is tariffs, right? How big a deal is it if the EU suspends this trade agreement it reached with the U.S.? Remind us, what was in the details of that one again?
The details was that after the Liberation Day tariffs, the agreement
CNBC is actually kind of calming.
Capped U.S. tariffs on EU
Order book's
products
gone
at
again?
15%, which
No.
was lower
No, I still see
than
it.
most of the other tariff deals that the United States negotiated with other countries one-on-one. Furthermore, certain agricultural goods would be, the tariffs on those to export to the European Union would be lowered. And
Oh, they
also,
have the
most
coming up
importantly,
back
the
on
idea of the
CNBC.
deal was that it was supposed to secure or eliminate, rather, uncertainty. And if there's one thing that I'm pretty sure businesses don't like when it comes to making long-term investment plans or trade plans, it's uncertainty. This obviously injects more uncertainty into the bilateral relationship, which will retard investment.
Who would be the biggest losers? I don't know how kind of
This
company
doesn't
or sector
air by
specific
3
you'd be
p.m., man.
if the trade deal doesn't come
My
to
eyes
pass
are
with
gonna
the
just
U.S.
The two groups that I would, that come to mind are, well, three groups, I guess. The first are American agricultural exporters, because Europe is a pretty robust market for a lot of those goods. They would obviously be hurt by the loss of tariff-free access. The second group are European automakers, which I would imagine would have some issues in terms of whether or not they'd be able to complete production chains in the United States. The biggest loser, far and away, would be consumers in both the United States and Europe, because this would guarantee that prices would go up.
Right. And so all of that being the case, I mean, none of this may happen. We're just looking at the market reaction, trying to basically assign probabilities to all of this. And in the meantime, the EU has gone and signed this big trade agreement with Latin America. So maybe they can get agricultural products elsewhere.
Well, this is the disturbing thing about this, and sort of the long-term effects of Trump's sort of year of Liberation Day tariffs and America First trade policy, which is, in the short term, you've seen a lot of countries make some marginal concessions to the United States in order to make sure that their tariff rates aren't escalated too high. But basically what you've also seen are a lot of other countries cozying up to each other, finding ways to work around the United States because they don't want to give up the benefits of globalization. And so what you might see going forward is not so much a return to the brutal days of 1930s where there were trade wars and tariff wars, but rather globalization -1, where the -1 is the United States.
Interesting. Daniel, thanks so much. Appreciate it today.
Thank you.
Daniel Dresner with
Apparently they might
All right, on deck. It is a complex time. It always is.
reverse
So coming up, we're going to try
the
to answer a very simple question. What should you do
gambling loss
with your money
deduction
right
thing
now?
today, hopefully.
Craig Johnson is up with that next.
How do you size up from $100? Like growing a port, you mean?
Vale, like nothing on Earth. Playing your legendary escape today.
The big stuff. Running a small biz takes grit and hustle, but you don't have to do it alone. The UPS store has your back. with packing, shipping, shredding, and more. We're your one-stop shop for small biz success. Come into your local store today. The UPS Store. Be unstoppable.
This Friday,
You have 90 minutes to prove your innocence, or you will be executed.
only one movie will have you on the edge of your seat until the very last twist.
Oh my God.
What did you expect to happen?
Mercy, rated PG-13, filmed for IMAX in theaters Friday.
Just having one of those busy days, you know.
I mean, you size up by making correct grades.
Just gonna be a lot. You up for it?
Figure
We're just
out
getting started.
your
Is this a joke?
niche,
It's the 4th of July.
you know?
Take a deep breath.
Slowly grow over time.
This place is always crazy. But you were in excellent hands.
AMC is the
Man, this is so dragging on so long. Come on, Trump.
Every Thursday at 9, total non-stop action.
It is like electricity.
TNA Thursday Night Impact, Thursday at 9, live on AMC.
Early fall, September, late September, maybe like.
May I be of assistance, sir?
Please. I know the 2013 Bitcoin, but the rest, I really need something well balanced.
May I suggest a blend?
When it comes to crypto, don't pick and choose.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Wonderful. I'll bring that over.
Pick BitW, the world's first and largest crypto index fund.
Ty loves to dance and to teach people how to dance, so he bought a .dance domain name with Squarespace so you can book him and have him teach you how to dance.
What did I choose? In regards to what?
And all the while, you were on the train home. Audible. There's more to imagine when you listen.
Man, Trump, can you just freaking...
All right, welcome back. The world's attention is focused on Greenland. But as we said on this show
Oh
yesterday...
my gosh, is this
that
really
might
going
be
to drag
more of
on
a
past
head
3
fake for
p.m.?
the markets. Japan.
I don't know if I can do it if they
bond
still
selling,
don't show up.
earnings, and the Supreme Court on tariffs, the real issues. So do not
Anything
lose
else going
sight of
on
them,
live?
And also do not
I guess
lose
this is
sight
it.
of how the charts look right now. Where is the momentum? Where is the fear? Joining us now, Piper Sandler's chief market technician, Craig Johnson. Craig, one day doth not a trend make. I am quoting you, back to you. Yesterday, did yesterday do any technical damage to what you see in the charts?
Brian, I think it kind of shook people up a little bit, but again, at this point in time, the technical damage has not been that severe. I would say this is a market that's just sort of very resilient. It's rotating. It's been moving out of a lot of these Mag 7, Mag 8 stocks, and it's been rotating down cap. And I think a lot of that has to do with what you've been seeing in Japan, where people have been borrowing cheap money, bringing it back over to the US, levering it up, buying all these Mag 7 and Mag 8 stocks. Some of that is unwinding. And as you look at the charts there, Brian, those stocks are now starting to lag, and you're starting to see a lot of other stocks in the market starting to pick up the baton and starting to perform well. And I think you're going to see that sort of rotation continue to play out.
Is that what you mean by down cap? That maybe the halcyon days of the Nvidias and the Alphabets just crushing everybody else are
Go
over?
check your portfolio. Trump
Yeah, I think
just
those are
tacoed on
wonderful
Greenland.
companies, great companies,
Yeah,
in
yeah,
fact.
on like pulling
But
out
at
the
this point
tariffs.
in
I know,
time,
I'm
if
pretty
we're focused
excited.
on where
I'll
do
check
we
my
make
port
money,
after
like
this.
you asked, Brian, right now, a lot of the charts like
Stocks
Apple
going up.
and Microsoft,
Just keep
they're all
pumping
sort
it.
of distributional looking
Please.
charts rolling over, and you're seeing stronger names down cap. For instance, energy, an area that you like, we talk about quite a bit. You look at things like Schlumberger, Halliburton, a lot of those charts look much more constructive. Even when you go through and you look at things in healthcare, there's a heartbeat there, Brian. We haven't had one in quite some time, and you're starting to see things like Medtronic outperforming Boston Scientific. So you're seeing a lot of other things broadening out. That's a good constructive technical sign for this market, and I think it's one that investors need to certainly pay attention to.
Okay, Craig Johnson, I'm going to ask you to sit tight. We're not ending the interview. We do have some breaking news about Trump and a social media post. For that, we'll go to D.C. and Eamon Javers and go back to Craig.
Yeah, Brian, that's right. President Trump is calling off his tariff.
It was up 5K earlier this morning, then went down 3K now after his tweet, back up 2K.
Tariffs on February 1st and raise them as the months go along. Because those NATO
I
countries
only
had
hold
sent
index
troops
funds,
to
so it's
Greenland.
not
The
like,
president now
you know,
just posting on Truth Social and saying that
stuff's
based upon
volatile.
a very productive meeting that I've had with the Secretary General of NATO, we have formed the framework of a future deal with respect to Greenland and, in fact, the entire Arctic region. The president going on to say, I will not be imposing the tariffs that were scheduled to go into effect
This is
on
the
February
typical
1st.
Trump
He says
playbook.
additional
Gonna do
discussions are
tariffs.
being held
I'm not
concerning
gonna
the
do
Golden
tariffs.
Dome
Gonna do
as it
tariffs.
pertains to Greenland. Further information will be made available as discussions progress. He lists a number of officials who are
It's a pretty funny
participating
short on
in
this.
negotiations here, Brian. So a couple of important things. One is this is the president retracting that tariff threat that he had put in. The second is that the president says they've formed the framework of a future deal with respect to Greenland. Not clear what that means. Does that mean a full acquisition of Greenland, as the president said in his speech to the World Economic Forum this morning that the United States needs? Or does that mean some sort of basing Golden Dome missile defense agreement in Greenland? Not entirely clear, but nonetheless, markets would be expecting to react positively.
And they are. They're ripping, and we got Craig Johnson at the ready here. A couple things. I'm going to put you on the spot, Eamon Javers, because we don't know, and I want to remind our
You guys
viewers
seen this one?
that Joe Kernan
All right, maybe this is
scheduled to be interviewing President Trump basically right now. I can't see a feed, so
I
I don't
love
know
this
if they're
short.
interviewing. This would
They
be.
have not said. They have not.
Oh, they might be doing it right
Everybody
now.
can see the feed but us. Either way, so Eamon Javers breaking that news. Thank you, Eamon. So let me ask you this: the framework of a deal, Eamon, with
They were just saying it might be right
NATO.
now.
Obviously, Denmark
All
is
right,
a
but this
part
one's
of
good. Let me
NATO,
pull this
but
one
Greenland.
up. This is.
A deal with these foreign countries, so I'm putting tariffs on all foreign countries. China.
Oh no, this is like a music one. Never mind. God, there was a good one. Why did they have to remake it with music? All right, they're saying that Trump might be coming on right now.
Or that he met with any officials from Greenland. So we'll wait and see whether those officials agree to whatever this potential framework is.
This is going to be
But
all
remember,
Greenland.
we've seen the president
like,
say in the
imagine
past
thinking he's going to talk
that
crypto
got
here.
frameworks of deals in a trade context.
Phantom, sell
not
your
in a
shares.
national security context, but in a trade context. And those deals have taken a while to materialize or just never been confirmed.
I don't
by
think
the
this
other
is live.
side.
People are saying
So
it's pre-recorded,
I think what
but
this
let's
is a very significant de-escalatory signal from the President of the United States. You saw the first de-escalatory signal during his speech when he said, I won't use force. Now he's saying, I won't use tariffs. This is a climb down by the President of the United States from that very threatening posture. He's obviously
By the way, the
heard
guy
something
talking
that
right
he
now
likes,
is the guy
in those
that
conversations
shouted
with
out
NATO, or
Roxy.
market
Can't remember his
reaction
name.
has served sort of as a guardrail here, and the president said, I don't want to necessarily spook the markets any further than I've done. So we don't know the motivation for it, but clearly the president backing off.
I don't know, that's
second
honestly a
big
good
threat,
point,
to
especially
the
if it's
NATO nations
pre-recorded.
here just within the same day.
Our audience, I know I do. I certainly have deja vu on this moment, Eamon, when I remember sitting here almost exactly this time last April when the president backed off of his Liberation Day tariffs and the Dow shot up almost 2,000 points in an instant with the Truth Social
How much
post.
is the market
So here we
up
are
right
again.
Yeah, this one, obviously not in terms of scale. As
Wow,
big as
up
the Liberation Day climb down,
1.23%.
But obviously,
Let's
because of the nature
go.
of this tariff dispute and land
Pump
dispute
it
with
up.
Denmark over Greenland, this was a geopolitical flashpoint that a lot of people around the world, a lot of strategists around the world were worried about an actual shooting war between the United States and Denmark and Greenland. In Greenland, if the United States were to attack and try to use military force. As the president said and his staff said, military force was on the table to take it forcibly from Denmark. Now, the president backed off that force threat earlier today, and now he's backing off the tariff threat right now.
Yeah, threat of a shooting war. I know Eisenhower talked about it in 1955, wrote a letter to the Joint Chiefs of Staff about it. Obviously, nothing happened. Glad it's off the table either way. Eamon Javers with the breaking news that's moving markets. We still got Craig Johnson, Chief Market Technician at Piper. Hey, Craig, how do you like it? You come on the show. We're going to talk about whatever we're going to talk about. Now you get the breaking news. Markets ripping higher. And folks, can we put the SML, Small Cap 600 Index up? Because, Craig, to your point at the top, you said the markets are moving, quote, down cap. Guess what? All the markets are ripping right now. Small caps the most. And now the SML is higher this week, even with the big down move that we had yesterday. This has got to be good for the technicals.
Absolutely, Brian. I mean, the breadth of this market is widening out. You can look at the SML, you can look at the 400, you can look at the 600, you can even look at the Russell 2000. That's up 1.92% right now, way outpacing the S&P 500 and the Dow. I think this is constructive. And Brian, if you look at this breaking news, and you
Somewhat
sort of put it
bearish
all
on him
into
saying
context,
affordability given the
it is very
context, but
clear
we'll see.
that the U.S. innovates, China replicates.
We
and
got to
Europe
glean what we
regulates.
can from
That
whenever
is
this
the world we
freaking
live
interview
in,
starts,
and
man.
that is not changing, no matter what happens with Greenland or anything else at this point in time. So again, Trump
What live stream is this?
negotiating. Again,
If you
people
go
really
on
like his tactics
YouTube
in
and you
terms of
look up, it's
negotiating, but he
CNBC
seems to be
television.
getting
They have
things
this
done, and he
scheduled
seems
to
be
air.
Perhaps going to.
It hasn't
leave
started
the
yet,
world
so
in a
I'm
better
waiting for it to
place than
come.
It had been when he took over.
It was supposed to start
We've
at
had some
2.
people insisting that
First it was
Europe
supposed to start
is
at 1.
now
Then it was supposed to start at 2.
deregulating,
Now it's
which
40
I
minutes
know,
later.
Hard to believe,
Going
but they argue
crazy.
that it's the banking
How
and some
long
other
it's taking.
sectors. This is what's been driving those moves. But does this, Craig, now eliminate this overhang? Remember, we're only really back to where we were, going into this a couple of days ago. So for the market's original start to the year, do we go back to that pattern? Like you said, Russell's leading the way. We're back to talking about the memory stocks. Intel's up 50 or 60% since Jan 1. Do those trades come back on the table? We're talking about strong GDP growth. We're talking about a surprisingly good labor market, perhaps, things like that. So what do you do now? Do you scramble to go back to that framework?
Yeah, I think the economy seems to be doing fine. Again, I'll defer to Nancy here at Piper on that one, but that seems to be doing well. And at this point in time, small mid-cap stocks are where the rotation is going. So I think you're going to continue to see that innovation. People are going to come back to those names. I think they'll be buying those names.
CNBC, man, driving me crazy. Let's just air
Trump
this.
has talked about here, even with the Davos conversation. Sounds like we're going to see more.
Order was at
nuclear
88 when I called it for being too
into,
high.
Fruition. We're going to see more
International affairs, more
industrial
domestic. Could be
companies
totally
doing
wrong.
well. You'll see perhaps some of the
Yeah, I
truckers,
mean,
all
I'd
these
probably.
stocks are all
I don't
turning
know.
up and acting a lot.
Could be right. I just
more
want to see this
constructive.
interview
The
start to
small-
glean
the
some
small
type of
cap, I know
context on
we
what the
got
hell
it, we
this
got
is
it,
going to
we
be.
keep getting gotta go,
Still
gotta
don't
go.
really know.
Craig Johnson, I guess that means we gotta go.
Thank you, Brian.
The voice, it's either the producers or the voice in my head, or they may be the same. I don't know. But I will say the SML up 2.7%. Small caps ripping.
Wow. And again, could be a lot of reasons for that. This kind of leveling off of the NASDAQ and the triple Qs has really been going on for a couple of months now, and it's definitely significant. We're talking about that with Jay Woods right here yesterday. Yields are
So
on
our
the move,
market's
and
back
they're,
to an all-time
let's see,
high?
425 now. So a slight rebound. What is the
Yeah.
bond market telling us?
All-time
amidst
high,
these
let's
news
go.
cross-currents? Rick Santelli is here
We are
next.
so back. Could have been delayed to include this talking point. Trump thing pushed back to 3 now that it's happening? Oh my god, they actually pushed it back to 3. Oh. Dude, I haven't even had lunch.
Someone to fix this. But before I started
Come
Angie's
on,
List, different
Trump.
story. A lot has changed for us at Angie since then, but the issues facing homeowners are the same.
This
And the
thing's been delayed
solution
all
too,
day.
skilled local
Keeps
pros.
feeling like it's
Get
about to
started
happen.
at Angie.com.
Market isn't even at a week high? Oh. Yeah, I was just looking at the 5-year chart. I guess we were higher a few days ago.
Constant Contact delivers
By
the marketing tools your small business needs to
About
keep up,
1%.
excel, and grow.
So we're 1%.
At Ameriprise Financial, we know our clients are so much more than clients. They're go-getters and legacy leavers. And what matters most to them matters most to us. It's no wonder we have a 4.9 out of 5 client satisfaction rating. Ameriprise Financial.
Dad, are we really gonna miss the game?
I think we're stuck here.
Hey, you guys doing okay? Dad, it's John Elway!
Our plane's having mechanical problems, and I think we're going to miss the big game.
Well, I'm going to badge it to the game. You're welcome to join me. With Badge It, you're guaranteed a recovery plan. Search over 5,000 planes.
Deal on
from
Jersey Mike's
500
today.
of the
Buy one,
best
get one.
companies. Paying you ready to badge it to your destination.
That's really
Look,
cool.
I live in
You always have a
Brooklyn.
chauffeured vehicle
If you
waiting
really
for
think
you.
I'm gonna
All
get that
complimentary
Jersey
on
Mike
Badge
shit
It. It's the
when I have
one
some of the
and
best
only way to
delis in the
Thanks,
world
John. You
within
saved the
walking
day.
distance?
Thanks, buddy.
Call for a complimentary flight.
I started paying attention to gut health when I saw how many different things it's linked to. I'm a mom, I'm an executive, I'm a sideline cheerleader. AG1 supports my gut health by making sure I get prebiotics, probiotics, and those digestive enzymes right at the start of each day. People rely on me. The kids rely on me. My team at work relies on me. And having balanced gut health really leads me to help balance the rest of my life.
At Enterprise Mobility, we never stop looking for new mobility solutions. Because sometimes the best road forward is the one you didn't expect.
All right, welcome back. If you are just joining us, the markets are ripping higher right now. The Dow's up 1.5%, small caps up 2.7%, NASDAQ up 1.4%. You can see big moves there. What happened? Well, moments ago, the president putting out on True Social, his social media platform, that he has reached what they would call the framework of a deal. So no deal, but the framework of a deal with NATO around Greenland.
Fiaco's on
A lot of
Bleecker.
questions still remaining. Kyle Bass
No, I'm not
is
gonna
back
go
with us.
to
Kyle, we
the
appreciate you being
bodega. I'm gonna
flexible
go to
enough
the. There's this
to
one
jump back on with us. We'd love
deli
to show
near
you.
me.
Now you're back.
I'm blanking on the
Framework
name, but it's
of a deal around
unbelievably
NATO.
good sandwiches.
I know you're going to speculate. Why we don't know much.
Tesla
What
at
would you
419. What's
imagine
it at
any
now?
kind of a deal might look like?
You're trying to save money.
It's very important for us.
I
to,
honestly
install what we need.
I
to
only.
install
Oh dang,
and
yeah,
work
Tesla completely
with Greenland
pumped.
to
I
make sure that Arctic pathway.
I mean, I should
is
technically
something that
save
we
money,
have
but I just
sufficiently
spend a
covered
lot of
for
money.
both submarine warfare, shipping
But
lanes.
I don't spend a lot of
and,
money. I don't buy nice
ballistic
things.
Missiles and
All I spend my
hypersonics
money
coming
on
over
is
the top.
food.
So
Food and
we're gonna
drinking.
work closely hand in hand. It
So
sounded to
you know
me
what?
like,
If I spend
when
$50
you
a
talk-
day
when you listen to
on
Stephen
average
Miller,
over a
listen to
month just
Trump
on drinks
very
and food,
carefully, says
and
we're
that's my
investing
one
hundreds of billions of dollars in
thing
Europe's
to
defense,
spend on.
and we're doing that.
I literally
for
don't
the-
buy
for
any
the
nice
betterment
things.
of the West
You
without
know,
anything in return.
the only
And so
exception to
I
that is
think-
like I have a
I
ton
think we're
of
gonna end
expensive
up
stuff this
owning the
year.
territory
'Cause
of Greenland
I
is
have a
what I
wedding,
The whole thing.
honeymoon, all that stuff.
whole thing.
So that's gonna be crazy money.
You know, again, maps are they make Greenland look a lot larger than it is, and sometimes
Yeah,
the
but that's on
location,
you, Phantom.
I know Eisenhower in '55 wrote that he thought it was part of the Monroe Doctrine.
Kidding,
Whatever you think
kidding.
about that is a different issue.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you
Totes
think there
on.
could, though, be
And then
like
it
a
makes it so I never have to cook. I never have to
1951
clean.
Solution where
Let me,
effectively
but I did literally
we
spend
agree- Denmark,
basically
Greenland
10K
says,
yesterday for
put
our
base-
honeymoon,
do
which I'm
kind
like,
of-
is that crazy
not
expensive?
whatever
It
you
kind of
want, but
is
put military
going to
bases
Europe,
here,
but
protect us.
I haven't
There'll be
ever
a
spent money
trade,
like that on a
that there
trip,
is
and
some
I'm
kind
like,
of
it's
an
the
outcome
one
that
trip.
is
Crypto's
not
dropping.
Purchasing the
The odds of him saying crypto. Holy
but
shit,
a negotiated
dude.
settlement
What
that
the
would give the United States the protection, the missile protection, the control of the Arctic Sea
Crypto
routes. which I
back to
believe, as I've said you,
71?
Kyle, on and offline. I really
Oh
believe that
my
this
gosh,
is what this
give
is
me
about.
fills.
You can argue about rare earths all you want. I think it's about the opening up
This is
of
not
the
how
shipping
it's
lanes
sponsored, dude.
and the fear that Russia and China are going to dominate that.
Wait, how come right when I put a bid at 71?
Correct, and just
Someone
remember, we
just
actually purchased
jumps
the
me.
U.S. Virgin Islands from Denmark in 1917. I mean, there is precedent. To your point, Truman offered money in 1946, and
1910, we approached Denmark about buying Greenland.
Yeah, I mean, we have constantly danced around this issue.
Okay, look at this. I put a 71-cent bid there, and now it's all the way up to 80. Are these just bots with the... Dude, 2.2K bid at 78? Is that you, Phantom?
Chinese hypersonics, and you know, you got to remember, in 1950, we didn't have any kind of early warning apparatus for a potential invasion by, at the time, Russia in the Cold War, which is why we actually formed MIT's Lincoln Labs. Lincoln Labs was put together as a specialty national lab of the United States to set in force our early warning system for a potential Russian attack. This is just the next iteration.
How is there
of that,
2K
with
at
China
78?
now being
Do
the
I
number
just-
one threat to the United
do I
States.
slam it?
And I think that we are, as you can tell, the level of rhetoric is at
Holy.
a zenith right now, and at some point in time,
Is this
we're going to get
Phantom?
something done. And it's by necessity.
Are
Brian.
you
This isn't
at
just
22? There's no way you'd be at
President
22.
Trump, you know, getting to an issue and standing on it. This is vital to our security here and now, because you know, basically China can move any day on Taiwan, and when that happens,
I guess, what do I pay
it
1%
sets
fees if I
so
just
many
eat this?
different dominoes into motion here that we better have
Pay
our,
like
our
1.2%
ducks in a row
fees.
before that happens.
Yeah, it's really been quite the whirlwind. I don't think we talked about Greenland ever in the last, say, 25 years, and now all of a sudden it's top of everybody's
Who
mind.
is
and
this
maybe
on
top of their
Crypto
globes
BTC,
as
bro?
well.
This
Kyle
is
Bass,
like,
thank you very much.
Thank you, Brian.
We're also
it's
watching
messing
bond
with my
yields
head.
after the president's announcement, and even going into, I mean, not a ton of movement to be sure. We're still around
Bunchy, do you
425.
see this?
If
There's
anyone can give us the
3K at
significance of that, it's
78.
Rick Santelli, who joins us now with the bond report. Rick?
Yes, Kelly, it's a twofer today, and you'll understand why in a moment. Remember, yesterday's moves in large part were all about Japanese yields, but to think
Okay, I'm
that
getting
the
filled at
effects
77
of
actually.
the tariffs in Europe and how they moved the equity markets didn't spill over into foreign exchange or the fixed income sovereign market, well, of course it did. But I think it was more like
All right, we're up to
portions Japan,
3K.
maybe one portion of
How
Greenland.
much do I?
And today the
Oh,
markets
still
will agree with
1,300
that.
at.
Let's look at a 2-year, the least affected by
Who
any
is
of
that
this.
confident
This
to put up
starts
a
last
3K
Friday.
bid at
Virtually,
78?
it's a
That's
sideways
so
market. As a
insane.
matter of fact, yields ticked up just a little bit, which I'm sure didn't really have anything to do with Trump. It's just not part of the game right now. It's focused on the Fed and very little from the Fed.
All right, let me go back to 79.
Let's look at
I'll take it up
Japanese 10-year
to.
since
I'll have
Friday,
3K
along
on
with
this. If
our
I lose
10-year.
3K, I
Look
lose
at
3K.
that. It is on top of each other. That's why the market moves.
No, now
But
I'm getting jumped
we
up to
do
80.
see yields coming down
I
a
should've
little
just clicked it.
extra helping right now. And the mid to
What a
long
bad-
maturities, not
what
the
a
short
FOMO
end like the
to not
2-year.
click those
So that really
78s. What
is
am I
about what's
doing?
going on in equities. That's the feedback.
Why am I not
loop.
sizing
when
up?
When the Dow pops 300 points, usually the bond market takes notice. Now let's take that 10-year
How do I know
and put
this
the
is someone
dollar
bidding yes and not
index
selling
in there.
no?
And this is really fascinating.
Yeah, I should have slammed that.
because it's
Always wondered how to
indirectly
tell the
correlated,
difference.
which makes
I
perfect
have no
sense.
selected.
When the orange line was going up and yields in
Everyone's
Japan were
scared to
going
take
up, the value of
losers.
the dollar was going down and vice versa.
I know, I'm a
Why?
loser, dude.
You know, it's
No,
the
it-
same reason about gold.
yeah.
We can get political about all this.
It's
but
like
in
whenever
the
there's stuff
end,
like this where it's
about
intuition,
central
you know, a
banks.
little bit. Like, yeah, I can say
Central
there's
banks
historical.
cannot be the champions of the
But like other
universe.
spots
They
where
cannot
I'm
have all
extremely
this
confident
debt.
that
They
like
can't
every
play games
event
with
is
this
not
debt
very
without markets
unique.
taking notice.
You
And
know,
that's why
like announcer
Japan and
markets.
the Bank of
Those
Japan
I'm
are
confident to
such a
slam like
driving
10
force in the
K
marketplace.
plus.
And
But like for
finally,
Trump,
all
just
of
because like
that comes
there's
back
so
to
much
the
uncertainty,
Chinese,
I
the part of
guess
the Greenland
it's harder for me to
discussion,
slam
but
like
yet, with all the talk, with
a lot
everything
bigger
going on
bids,
with
but I
the
definitely
AI
should have just
progress,
taken those up
let's
to
look at
5K.
this chart starting
Whatever.
in May of 2023, the dollar versus the onshore yuan, and we're still within a nip of the lowest level on the yuan, highest level on the dollar in 32 months. Brian, back to you.
All right, Rick Santelli, really appreciate it, Rick. Thank you very much. All right, folks, do not go anywhere. Got more of the market's reaction. It's ripping higher from Trump's announcement that the framework of a deal with NATO around Greenland has been reached. We don't have any more details than that. We don't know what the deal looks like. We don't even know if NATO speaks
how much.
for Greenland.
So this total market's done
or
300K
for
in volume.
Denmark.
I want to see how much of the
Markets,
volume is on
they're not
freaking
waiting
crypto.
around. Russell 2000 up 2%. Dow, SP, NASDAQ all higher.
All right,
We'll look back
317K.
right after this.
And how much more? 66K the volume is
Report is brought
crypto.
to
I
you
guess
by
that's only
PIMCO,
20%.
a global leader in active
22%.
fixed income.
Today's digital world is full of risks.
All right, it's back down
I
to
present
79.
to you the world's most protected business.
So what do I have in this?
we
I have
have
2352.
AT&T Dynamic
So I'll get
Defense.
$650
It prevents
more.
malicious
threats. How are people
which is
supposed to
like
get in? There's no door.
830. All right, we're gonna have 3K on this.
Light 'em up, Bobby. My man.
Longevity is not just about living longer, it's about staying you longer. Fatty 15 strengthens and energizes your cells, helping you hold on to everything that aging tries to take away. Fatty 15, long live you.
This is my gorgeous Spencer panel bed.
And this
Probably
is the matching
editing the
dresser
interview.
in
Well, they
Europe
updated it
and
on YouTube
nightstand.
to say 3
They're
p.m.
great on their own, but
So,
so much better together.
Dude, if this doesn't happen at 3
Bundle
p.m., I'm just
bedroom
gonna be
set, you
like,
save almost $200. Oh my
this has to start. Come on.
In the world of investing, a beast lurks between the numbers. Some watch from the safety of the sidelines, but others saddle up and ride that one-ton rowdy ribeye for all he's got. If that's you, join us on Tasty Trade, named best online broker for options trading. Genius loves company.
I get my ideas from Mad Money everywhere. I look at everything as a stock. I study it all the
This
time.
idea is
My doors
ridiculous.
are my
Betting on
bosses. They come
speeches.
to my
Give me
show to
crypto.
learn how to do stocks.
Money, weeknight 6 Eastern.
Yeah, crypto we
CNBC,
mentioned just
free on
confirmed
CNBC
inside.
Plus.
All right, these are our counterparties, guys. These
Do you
are our
have a life insurance
counterparties.
policy you no
All
longer
right,
need?
to the
Now you
moon.
can sell your policy, even
Not
a
today,
term
son.
policy, for an immediate cash payment.
Hopefully, no, I'm getting jumped again.
Call Coventry Direct to learn more.
I'm watching on. I have CNBC on,
But we quickly
but
realized we
it's
needed
not.
a way to
It's
supplement
supposed
our
to be on
income.
YouTube. I can air it if it's on YouTube. If it's on YouTube, I can't air
That got me
it
thinking.
because of
Maybe selling our policy could
copyright.
help with our retirement.
I'm skeptical, so I did some research and called Coventry Direct. They explain life insurance is a valuable asset that can be sold.
We learned we could sell all of our policy or keep part of it with no future payments. Who knew? We sold our policy. Now we can relax and enjoy our retirement as we had planned.
If you have $100,000 or more of life insurance, you may qualify to sell your policy. Don't cancel or let your policy lapse without finding out what it's worth. Visit CoventryDirect.com to find out if your policy qualifies, or call 1-800-514-7800. Coventry Direct, redefining insurance.
Lot going on. Love Live TV. We are live, by the way. Joe Kernan speaking right now to President Trump. When that interview wraps, you will hear it right away here on CNBC. And Joe Kernan, this Kelly, is perfect time to sit down with President Trump because the president posting minutes ago that there's a framework of a deal with NATO around
See, this
Greenland.
they're
Joe
saying
gets the
live.
first interview
This
with him.
this has to be.
Yes. And the question is,
how is
if you're
crypto
in the
going to
market
come
for
up
the-
when they're
for those
talking
who are
about this
trading
Greenland
minute by
shit?
minute, do you lean into the framework of a deal,
Oh my
or is he
gosh.
going to come out with some
I gotta
comments
get
that,
more shares.
You know, kind of dial
How
that
did I
back?
not just
How
slam
would
that?
you define framework of a deal with NATO around Greenland? In Kelly Evans' mind.
Yeah, well,
How did I not
I think
slam
what the
way
market
more,
has found
dude?
out that it doesn't
So
matter.
stupid.
It doesn't matter. All you need from the president, go back to last April. You begin with the threat, I'm doing this. You take it at face value, you lose on that trade. You turn around and you wait for him to walk it back, and on that day you buy, and it's been buying ever since. That moment that he dialed it back last year set up the rally that continued for the rest of the year until today, until the last couple of days when we've watched a mini version of the same thing.
And so why are the markets going higher when yesterday we led the show with, we'll bring in Mike Santoli, perfect timing for this. We led
Oh,
the
he's
show
gonna
with
buy
Japan,
Greenland and
Mike,
Bitcoin.
some of the
Okay.
liquidity
I
issues
see it.
there,
I see
and,
it.
and some of that being the reason for the market's decline yesterday was not really Greenland. And I think that Greenland, while important politically, and the people of Greenland certainly care about what happens to them, the markets, my guess, reacting, number one, they like nicey nice. That's a good thing. Number two, that's a technical term too, by the way. Number two, they like the fact that tariffs are likely off the table.
Yeah, that's the piece of it that I think matters the most. You know, you can actually look at this tick by tick from Sunday night, or Monday night rather, at least, where you were going to look at a 1% decline off the threats of tariffs on Europe. And then once the Japanese bond market started to act up, you added another 1.5% decline, and then you ended up down 2 yesterday. So you're getting back most of it. We're not back to Friday's close on the S&P 500, but I do think that in general, the market was always keeping in sight the possibility that this would not necessarily be a very open-ended crisis or threat or re-escalation of trade tensions. I do think that these issues struck a market that was unusually certain about the fact that 2026 was going to be a super clean policy year, and we're going to grow, and it's going to be tariffs were last year's problem. So anything that interrupted that was going to get a reaction. So I think now the job is for the market to prove that this wasn't it, that this was or wasn't in fact the thing that mattered most, or was or wasn't the thing that it really was contending with. Because last week, before any of this, the S&P tried 5 times to get to 7,000, couldn't get there. The mega caps have been under pressure. That's where the relief has come since that post by the president. The relief has come in the mega caps that were really under a lot of selling pressure. And so I do think this is the reflex move. It makes a lot of sense. And I'm all for the analogies with last April. Last April, we had a flash crash, really honestly a mini crash. It was down 20%. We were not even down 3% from the all-time high. So this is nothing like some kind of heroic buying of the dip. This is just people betting that the rotational market, the reacceleration of the economy will allow them to start ignoring policy again. I really think that's what the market always wants.
All-time highs,
All right,
Mike, for the
we're
small
2 minutes
caps.
out supposedly.
Yeah. Yeah, 4 years coming, right? I mean, I think that's what we're seeing. And it's just this massive kind of pent-up potential catch-up move. I know Brian was talking about the small cap 600 earlier. That's the relevant piece of it, because the Russell 2000 is super low quality. It's got a bunch of the real speculative stuff at the higher weights, and it's the small cap 600 that profitable companies that are a little more geared to the real economy. And on today, even before the announcement a little while ago, small cap was trying to outperform, but it's been lagging. So far, look, equal weight's doing well. All the rest of it, all the stuff that people wanted for broadening is showing up.
And we got Steve Leisman as well. Guys, really appreciate everybody being so nimble. It's what we do so well here on CNBC. Steve Leisman, I would imagine also markets like the fact that, you know, maybe no tariffs reduces the inflation expectation, puts the Fed back into play.
Yeah, and I'm watching this behavior of the 10-year, especially
Rarely
right
liquidity
now,
at fair price.
and the dollar as well. What's interesting about the 10-year is it's not gaining back as much as it lost. It really does support the idea that Rick talked about, that a piece of the rise in yields was indeed Greenland, but another piece, maybe a more important piece, was Japan. So I'm watching this, whether or not we hold that 420 level, to see if that damage goes away. But I think we need to all be on our toes, Brian. I don't think...
All right, the bonders are back. The no bonders are back. We're not going to get in at a good price again. We hesitated. So now...
So any utterance, I guess, Steve,
we
about
get rinsed.
potential tariffs being back on would change the view.
Except that what Kelly said earlier is that conundrum of...
all right, 1 minute till 3
Trump,
p.m.
Which is, if it gets really bad, he goes back on it. So what do you do in that situation? I think that if the market didn't fall, we might still be in a tariff fight with Europe.
Steve Leisman, great stuff. Really appreciate that, folks. Much more on Closing Bell.
Busy day here. We'll see you tomorrow.
Welcome to Closing Bell. I'm Scott Wapner, live from Post 9 here at the New York Stock Exchange, and we begin this final stretch with breaking news. Stocks rallying after
Breaking
President Trump
news. Stocks
says he has
rallying.
reached the framework to a deal with NATO over Greenland and will no longer impose tariffs on Europe that were set to go into effect on February 1st. The president also saying earlier today during his speech in Davos that he would not use force in Greenland. Stocks were up on that as well. And we will hear from the president himself momentarily from his interview with CNBC's Joe Kernan. First, let's go to Washington and Eamon Javers for the very latest. Eamon, it would appear once again the art of the threat is especially powerful.
Yep, and in this case, the art of backing off the threat, Scott. What we're seeing from the president's Truth Social post is a further de-escalatory signal. And I want to call your attention to two
President
words in the
Trump
president's
interview moments
post. He
away,
says,
they're saying,
we have formed
dude.
the framework
I
of a
can't speak
future
on
deal
CNBC,
with respect to
but-
Greenland. I would just circle the words framework and future there and say there's some questions that we now need the answers to in terms of exactly what is this deal with respect to Greenland. Does it imply some sort of U.S. ownership, some sort of U.S. occupation or participation in the governance of Greenland? What exactly is that? And our Joe Kernan will have the chance to ask the president for any specifics on that. But also importantly for markets, Scott, as you know, and you just said, the president says, I will not be imposing the tariffs that were scheduled to go into effect on February 1st. So that a relief to financial markets watching this tariff escalation between the United States and NATO countries.
Yep, there's no doubt about that. The interview, as you said, moments away between Joe Kernan and the president. You'll see it. Eamon, we'll talk to you on the other side of that for more of your reactions, but the market's reaction is clear. And we are rallying, not quite getting everything back from yesterday's sell-off, but nonetheless, as we begin this final stretch today, we do have a pretty sizable move on Wall Street. Let's talk more about that with our panel today. Solis's Dan Greenhouse and CNBC contributor Hightower's Stephanie Link. Also with us, 314's Warren Pies. It's good to have everybody with us. Dan, I'll begin with you first. Ignore the noise. This screams that more than anything else. We're kind of used to this.
I was all prepared to come on today, excuse me, and say, what are you talking about? We're not invading Greenland anytime soon. This is a negotiating tactic,
this
a
is
la
still-
everything that we've seen over the last year. And then, of course, that's what ended up happening. I don't mean to say
Just
that in terms
being
of I have
edged
some great
like what?
foresight. It's just I think I've been paying attention to this president for the last year. So I don't think it's that you don't have to pay attention or ignore the volatility. It's just that the market has not learned its lesson in terms of pricing in worst case outcomes when those are unlikely to come to pass.
Are we back, Stephanie Link, in some respects to where we started this year as with
this is
pretty
just
good runway
dragging
for the stock
on.
market, this volatility and this news and the threat and the fear notwithstanding?
Yes, we are absolutely back.
there are always puts and takes, Scott, in the markets, and we're coming off of 3 amazing past years of 18 to 23, 24%.
Well, if it got rescheduled to tomorrow, it would resolve no for all strikes. So that would be super bullish. Because the rule says it has to be, I think, before the 22nd.
And the reason is because the economy is doing really well, better than what most people have been expecting at 5%.
Let me read the exact rule variable they sent.
$1 trillion of fiscal, monetary, and deregulation yet to come into this economy. The Fed's balance sheet is expanding. We had 3 cuts from the Fed. That's a lagging.
Yeah, if it's not broadcast before January 22nd. I mean, obviously it's going to air, but if it didn't, that would be good for us because we're just holding no shares.
In my mind is productivity. It is skyrocketing, up 4.9% last quarter. At the same time, unit labor costs fell 1.9%. That's a recipe for kind of Goldilocks, if you will. Earnings are set to go higher. They already have been pretty good so far, and expect more to come.
Warren, we're back because the backdrop's favorable. That remains the bottom line, which people yesterday in the midst of the sell-off were trying to focus on. And that Tony Pasquarello of Goldman Sachs is keenly aware of, as he says today, quote, U.S. equity should be supported by a macro outlook that's inherently favorable. Yet risk-reward remains tricky until we see better levels. In the doing, I suspect the tactics of navigation this year will favor the buying of dips as distinct from the chasing of rips. This remains a buy the dip
Nuclear
market,
yes at 57?
Yeah, that's our position. I mean, everything Stephanie said and laid out is exactly in line with what we're seeing. I mean, Q4 earnings, we've been pointing this out, seasonally accelerated from the end of Q3. And so that portends a very strong earnings year. I think the first half of this year is what we're calling peak Goldilocks. The 3 vectors of inflation that we watch are really still dormant. I mean, that's the labor market, housing market, shelter inflation, in oil. I just don't see any near-term inflation risk. Now, I do think, and we're bullish in overweight equities, and I think that's kind of going to be the theme of our roundtable here. But what I would say is when you look at the last Liberation Day bout of this type of drama, these are not totally risk-free moves that the president does. If you look at the yield curve coming off of the last,
I don't really either, Ivan, to be honest.
It did level shift up. It went from like 30 basis points, 210s to 60, 65. And what that tells you is that you start inserting in drips, in erosion of confidence in the U.S. assets.
I think hottest can definitely hit in the context of economics, talking about performance of our country.
Yeah, equities are back to basically where they're at, but the 10-year is now at 4.25. We started this somewhere around 4.15, so it's something to pay attention to.
Yeah, Dan, Warren makes good points. There are still unknowns. There are still risks. A framework.
It could happen, NJ.
Isn't a deal, but nonetheless, you try and focus on.
If it does happen, it would be good for us long term. You know, because then crypto yes is going to consistently be
started. The Russell
price
as we were
cheap.
just talking about in the prior hour, among those averages and the places in this market that had really started to do well.
Yeah, mid caps as well. I don't think people realize that since the end of the third quarter of last year, mid caps and the equal. I mean, the S&P is trailing any number of ETFs with not the Qs per se, but the RSP.
Oh, is it starting right now?
Which is mid caps, the IWM.
They just changed the image.
So you've had a broadening out, but I agree with a lot of what Warren had to say. One thing I want to just focus in on is
they just changed the image. Come on, get this thing on.
I don't think people,
Gosh,
generally
CNBC.
speaking, pay enough attention to how much oil matters for broader inflation. Obviously, you've got the labor market and housing, et cetera, but with oil prices continuously moving lower, it's an enormously powerful downward press on inflation throughout the economy. And yes, oil's moved a little higher more recently, owing largely to geopolitics. But
yeah, it would be good for the space.
But largely speaking, WTI in the 50s, if you will, is pretty accommodative for inflation.
Steph, you know, it almost feels a bit glib saying, as I did to you, so we're back, as if none of this had ever happened. But there was never a belief in many corners of this market that the worst of scenarios would take place in the first place, and that all of investor focus should be on the fact that we just started earnings season and it's expected to be pretty good. And we're going to be focused on a Federal Reserve that's going to be cutting interest rates, and the economy is going to end up growing a lot faster than people thought.
Yeah, and we care about the economy growing because what it means to earnings. And earnings could be as high as 16, 17, 18%. Don't ask me, ask Ted Pitt, who was on this morning from Davos, and he was wildly bullish. He's the CEO of Morgan Stanley, as you know. He talked about the environment being excellent, that the lights are pretty.
It would be short. Look, there's a chance they do it standing up based on the picture. I don't know. Wow, if it is standing up.
Yes, high end, but that's what happens. It's been K-shaped for a long time, and we've done all of this, Scott, without a housing cycle. Just imagine if we do get a housing cycle, because we know there's a multiplier effect to have.
All right, I'm gonna take some note border, maybe.
Inside, outside, and an auto, and that sort of thing.
Maybe that's really stupid in a Trump speech. I don't know.
I like the broadening out that we're seeing.
What could I actually take notes on here?
Are going higher, including most of the big 6 banks, and that's very healthy. They're at the front line of the economy. If they are active, the economy stands a chance to continue to accelerate.
You know, Dan, some have been hung up on the price of stocks. The fact that the market's multiple is 22 times, historically a bit rich. I thought Kathy Wood today on the halftime report said something quite interesting where she expects a good year for stocks.
No AI? I don't know about no AI if you talk to economy,
but productivity is so strong, similar to what Steph is talking about, that it doesn't matter, that in prior bull markets, multiples can contract and stocks can still go up a bunch.
Yeah, you and I talked about this on air for years now. Yes, the market's expensive, but it's relative to its own history, but it was expensive when it was trading at 17 and 18 times. And people told me that the market multiple was too high. And it was expensive when it was 20 and 21 times. And people told me the multiple was too high. At the end of the day, in a bull market in general, but specifically one that's powered by the type of tailwind that AI is providing right now throughout the market, industrials, financials, utilities, tech.
Audio muted? Oh, it's something on your end.
In the short term, and I know someone somewhere is going to clip that and say Greenhouse said multiples don't matter.
He's got to start.
Matter for long-term returns, but in the short term, they have very little determinant, if any determinant, on forward performance. And again, you need to only go back 1, 2, 3, 5, 10 years to see that when the market's been expensive, forward returns, now realized returns, have been quite attractive.
Warren, do you have a thought on that? And let me just also say we're moments away here from this interview with President Trump.
Moments away.
Joe Kernan. So I may have to interrupt you at any moment to go to that, but do you want to entertain that question?
Sure, yeah. I actually, our call is that multiples will expand modestly this year, and that's just because when you look back.
How many times did they say we're moments away?
Right now, according to analyst estimates, and I think that they're going to be roughly correct, we have 90 basis points of margin expansion for the S&P 500, and the Fed is going to cut 2 to 3 times this year. Go back in history and find me a year where multiples contracted under those conditions. You just can't do it. So I do think that the nature of this market has changed, and that's pushed valuations higher. Margins continue to go higher. The quality of this market is
2 hours. It's moments away.
ROIC, return on invested capital, across the cross section of companies.
Okay.
I think it all. You got what Dan's saying.
I'm going to interrupt you now because CNBC's Joe Kernan, as I said, just wrapping up his interview with President Trump. Let's listen.
Okay. Now they're showing it on CNBC.
Mr. President, it's great to see you. Thanks for the time.
Nice seeing you.
I threw away all my questions. One question I had, we did this 5 years ago. I don't think you reflect too much because you're looking forward, but can you believe
they're not showing it on the
what's
YouTube
happened in the world and what's happened to you over the past 5 years? I just can't help but think that it's been just something to reflect. It's incredible, the 5 years.
Thank you very much. It's been a great ride. We've had a lot of fun, and nothing's easy in life, but you keep at it. We have a tremendous economy going right now, and we have a country that's the hottest country anywhere in the world. And this took place over
I didn't
one
get
year.
any. I was so ready for that. Why did it have to
hesitate? The first years,
Here's how I was going to start. I'd say you gave it very compelling in terms of talking about what you've done in the first year domestically, but also
I knew hottest was coming.
Very compelling in the case you made about Greenland. So I was going to ask you, did you see any of your European cohorts nodding? But I guess I don't have to ask that now because of the news. Mr. President, it's great to see you. Thanks for go into what you just talked about at the NATO meeting.
Well, we have a concept of a deal. I think it's going to be a very good deal for the United States, also for them. And we're going to work together on something having to do with the Arctic as a whole, but also Greenland, and it has to do with the security, great security, strong security, and other things.
The market, 600 points, getting back a lot of some of the nervousness we had in the last couple of days. The tariffs are off. Nothing happens on February 1st.
No, we took that off because it looks like we have pretty much a concept of a deal.
a deal of ownership, a deal?
Well, it's a little bit complex, but we'll explain it down the line. But the Secretary General of NATO and I and some other people were talking, and it's the kind of a deal that I wanted to be able to
Where
make.
does Denmark, did they weigh in on what they want, what they would agree to?
Well, I assume they did because he very much represents, he's a strong leader. Mark, you know Mark.
Wow, we dodged tariffs.
And he, I assume he's been speaking to them. He's been speaking to all of them.
Are mineral rights involved? Is ownership involved? Did the Golden Dome sway people?
I don't want to say yet, but
the Golden Dome was very compelling today when you talked about that.
Yeah, the Golden Dome, and they're going to be involved in the Golden Dome, and they're going to be involved in mineral rights, and so are we.
Okay, good. Got some.
You can't. It's not specific enough to know at this point how long this lasts. Whether it's
forever.
Forever.
It'll be forever.
For Greenland at this point.
Yeah. Forever.
That's staggering.
That's better than a 99-year.
This is what, 2 hours after.
It's better than the Obama deal with the famous Iran nuclear deal with a 9-year deal. No, this is forever. This is a long term.
I mentioned that you could have come over here and just talked about what you wanted to. Before you left, I think you wanted to talk about where the progress that you've made in terms domestically with the economy and everything else in the United States. And you didn't have to talk. I didn't think you had to talk about Greenland, but you're always moving on to the next thing.
In the speech I gave, I talked a lot about Greenland because we need it for security, and now we're going to have even better security, I think, than I would have had before.
And I know how you operate. I know that you didn't take force off of the table, but all along, I think if there was going to be a war, it was going to be a trade war. Is that fair to say?
I think so, yeah. I don't see us fighting with Denmark,
NATO.
Fighting with
you've done so
NATO.
much to try to strengthen NATO. I'm sure you don't want to see the dissolution of
Holy cow.
Could he dodge? I'm proud of NATO from the standpoint. Look, I brought them up from 2% to 5% of GDP. They're paying a lot of money. They pay us a lot of money because they buy missiles and they buy a lot of things. Unfortunately, Obama gave them $350 billion for Ukraine, which was just terrible. I mean, the whole thing was terrible. It should have never happened. That's a war that should have never happened. But they paid a lot of money, and I don't know if you know, but I signed a rare earth deal with Ukraine to probably get most of that back, maybe more back than we haven't. But what they did, they were just giving out money like cookies to a child.
I know how much you've done today, so I'm going to bounce from thing to thing. When we talked about geopolitical concerns today, we also mentioned Iran, and I made the point that I never thought that Greenland, that geopolitical events would include an actual shooting war. Iran's a different case. It could be tariffs, which you've already announced for Iran. Could be further action than what we've already seen in Iran. Most people think that you probably prevented the loss of I don't know how many lives for some of the protesters.
Thousands, more than that.
Was that the end of the story, though?
Well, they had one thing specifically that really got me. They were going to hang the old-fashioned hanging. They were going to hang 837 people on Thursday. And I told them, you can't do that. If you do that, it's going to be bad. I don't want to go exactly what I said, but nasty. And they canceled it, hopefully permanently.
But those tariffs are still on, including China. Has China responded to
sanctions?
25% for anyone who does business with Iran, and that will go forward.
Yeah, that's going forward.
That will go forward. There are assets moving into the Gulf, obviously carriers and other things. So a lot of people are wondering whether that's a prelude to further action.
Well, we hope there's not going to be further action, but they're shooting people indiscriminately in the streets. And they were going to look. This was a big thing for me. They were going to hang 837, mostly young people.
When you did successfully hit Fordo, you got a lot of grief from the Democrats for doing it. Now, the grief is, you promised to do something in Iran. Now they want you to do, or they're at least finger pointing, say, you said you were going to help the protesters, and now you're not. So you can't win.
Well, we had, of course, again, I mean, if I came up with the cure to cancer, they'd say, why didn't you do it faster?
If you walked on water, you can't swim.
Yeah, they're sick people. They really are. They are, we call it Trump derangement syndrome.
Should we stay tuned in Iran? I guess that's my question.
I guess. I mean, look, it's
already hitting both. Damn.
It's a rough place. It's a place that we hit very hard with the nuclear, ending the nuclear. They would have had a nuclear weapon long ago. It's actually already turned. They would have had a nuclear weapon probably a month after we hit, had we not hit. And we hit them hard, the B-2 bombers. We just ordered 25 additional B-2 bombers. They were unbelievable. Those things they were totally undetectable. They were undetected. And think of it, with no moon, in the dark of night, late in the evening, every single one of those bombs, and they're giants, every single one of those bombs hit its targets and just obliterated the place. So we're going to find out where they are now about what they're going to do with nuclear. They can't do the nuclear. You know, the one thing I've been strong on, they can't do the nuclear. Now, this attack that we did at the time, which is now a little bit older than what happened in Venezuela recently, which was equally as good, but the attack in Iran, if they do it, it's going to happen again. They've got to stop with the nuclear. You know, they keep experimenting with nuclear, and you know, at some point they're going to get the idea that they can't do that. They're just not going to be able to do that.
I know.
Can't let them have it.
Something else that we might find out in the near future is the replacement for Jay Powell.
It's true.
I just saw the Mr. Hassett, who I have a pretty good relationship with. And you're right.
He's fantastic.
He comes on.
I like actually keeping him where he is, to want to know the truth. I don't want to listen. He's so good on television.
On CNBC would be a great time to give us more.
So good on
Are we down to 2 now? Are we down to... I heard Rick Reeder had a strong...
Yeah, I'd say we're down to 3, but we're down to 2, and I probably can tell you we're down to maybe 1 in my mind. But
down to 1
is mine.
Very impressive. Yeah, he's been there for...
Because for a while the betting markets had Borsch in
betting markets.
Well, Rick is very good.
He's referencing
you know,
this.
all 3 are good.
He just said
all 3
betting
would
markets.
be, I think, good.
That's funny.
We have a problem with the man that's there now. He's too late. He's always too late, except when it comes to politics for the other side.
Yeah.
Where he was
no
actually
too late in the weeklies or
Another one,
monthlies. They used to be
I have
here.
a great deal of admiration for is your Treasury Secretary.
Yeah.
He made the point that...
By the way, he only wants to stay where he is. That's one thing.
Right.
He's fantastic, but Scott only wants to stay where he is.
His point, as a real estate guy, some people say you always want lower rates, but Scott made the point that if you have productivity gains, whether it's from AI or whether it's from Big Beautiful Bill, whatever it is, that you need a Fed chairman that can't get too agitated about a hot GDP number. In other words, we might be at a point
He's
where
going to
we
give the
could
stock
run
market line.
Nominal GDP of 8%, or you know, after inflation of 5.5%. But that doesn't mean that it's inflationary and that you need to raise rates. So if you consider someone that could be like a Greenspan in the 90s?
Well, that's what I want. I mean, right now, if you announce great numbers, the stock market goes down. Because they say, oh, they're going to raise it.
How did I not get the click? I was so
Which
ready
really
to click.
stops you from having any great runs, and we want to have a great run.
So ready.
So we're going to
How
be
did I
at 5.5 or something. They're predicting. I don't know. It's much higher than they thought. But let's say we're at 5.5. We could be at 10. Or we could be at 12. We could be at 15. But immediately when they announce good numbers. Now, in the old days, you're too young. In the old days,
you think I am, but you
no,
know.
but 20. I know you look good. Whatever you're doing, keep. But
I'll never be able to beat the
Joe,
bots.
In the old days, when you had a good run, you'd announce good numbers, and the stock market would go up. Now the stock market crashes every time you have good numbers because they think everyone's going to raise rates. And growth is not a big cause of inflation. In fact, it can go the other way. So look, we've had tremendous growth, and we have almost no inflation. For the last 3 months, we have 1.2% inflation, and yet we've had tremendous growth.
Do you, at this point, have plans for what you would do? And you said you won't fire Jay Powell. Let's say he decides, I'm not going to be pushed around. I don't like the way I was treated. Whatever he decides. And what if he decides to stay on the Fed? He doesn't need to leave when he's no longer chairman.
We'll see how it all works out. I mean,
that could create a block of 4 people that still vote.
We'll have to, we just, you know, in this world, we live with the cards you dealt, and if that happens, his life won't be very, very happy, I don't think, by doing it. I think he wants to get out. He has not done a good job. He's done a horrible job on buildings. You know, he took a small little complex, the Federal Reserve complex. I could have redone it. I could have fixed it for $25 million. It would have looked beautiful. I think he's up to almost $4 billion.
Yeah.
The most expensive project ever built. per square foot. And he's either incompetent or he's crooked, I guess, right? But so we'll find out. So if he stays, he stays. If he doesn't stay, he doesn't stay.
Do you know what would satisfy?
Think of it. He took this job.
Yeah.
And they're up to almost $4
China
billion
question could be
for
coming.
a little building. I'm building this massive ballroom. I'm way under budget. It's going to cost less than $400 million. It's going to cost maybe $300 million for this massive
Ballroom
project.
mentioned.
He spent. I just built, relatively recently, I built a hotel, the Waldorf, in Washington, and I spent like $250 million. It's a much bigger complex than the Federal Reserve and much more complex.
It's a bigger
So I said,
complex
how did they
and more
spend
complex.
$3 to $4 billion on this little thing? I could have done it for $25 million, and it would have been nicer than what they're doing.
Does Tom Tillis, and I know he's not going to be a senator much longer, but he probably could prevent someone from being voted on while this subpoena is still an issue. Are there just a couple of, do you know anything about what would be necessary for Chair Powell to answer for, to where this would be withdrawn so
No,
we can
I mean,
move forward?
I don't know about Tom Tillis, but he's not going to be a senator too much longer. Yeah.
But you figure whomever you nominate is going to have an easy.
Whatever. I mean, whatever it is.
Whatever.
Life. Whatever.
Life.
Whatever happens. Because we don't have a lot of time, I was going to needle you a little bit about Senator Elizabeth Warren and a meeting of the minds. That's something that wasn't on my. That wasn't
no
on my
Venezuela
plate.
topic.
She was very happy with this phone call. I'll tell you. Now, look.
You won't be having a lot of policy discussions with her,
Probably
other
not,
than.
but credit card companies are getting
Credit.
28%, 30%. These people don't know they're paying that.
Right. Is
And
it a
I
1 year?
said 1 year cap of 10%, and I love it. I know it's sort of like, it sounds like the mayor of New York probably maybe came up with that, but people are paying, they can't make it. They can't pay 28. Whatever happened to usury, they can't pay 28%. And so I said 1 year, I'd like to see a 1 year cap of 10% with the credit card companies, and they'd understand that. I've had calls from credit card companies, people that are friends of mine actually, and I treat them good. I respect them greatly, but they make a lot of money. They got to give people a break. 28% interest. People go out and they buy something, and if they're a little bit late, they're paying 28%. They end up filing for bankruptcy. So I would like to see that happen, yeah.
So there's, I guess, we're getting toward the end, but there's classic conservatism, there's populism, and I guess there's common sense. Is that how you would describe some of the steps that you make? I mean, there are people that call it statism, or that we're getting too involved with managing the private sector.
I'm conservative, but I think I'm common sense. It's like people say, are you a conservative? I say, yeah, but I'm a common sense person. I mean, I do things that aren't necessarily that conservative sometimes. And like men and women's sports, okay? People think it's wonderful. I think it's a horrible thing. I think it's a ridiculous thing. Open borders for everyone so that everybody's prisoners can pour in, where they come in from the Congo, where they come in from all over the world, from Venezuela. And by the way, we picked up 50 million barrels of oil the other day from Venezuela.
Look at that click. Look at that click.
We're going to give some to Venezuela. We're going to keep some.
Oh, shit.
That's going to be great. We're getting along great with Venezuela. They have
I beat the bots.
oil and oil reserves.
We
and
beat
other
the bots.
things too. And 20 years ago, Venezuela was a
it was a dead
pretty
country.
hot country. And
Hot.
now it's going to be maybe hot again. By the way, they'll make more money with us than they would have made in 25 years.
All these things the 10% on the credit cards, the not allowing corporations to buy single-family homes, it all seems to be.
Well, they were gobbling up all the homes.
It's aimed at affordability, I think, at this point.
It's also aimed at common sense again, but they were buying up all the homes. People couldn't buy homes. You have these big companies, these big corporations buying up thousands of homes and renting them or doing whatever they do with them. Some of them are flipping them for a big profit. But it got to be too much, too many. It became, it's good investment. And we're not saying take them away, but we're saying that we don't want that. We want people to be able to buy a home.
been a long day for you, I know, and energetic, more energetic than I am right now. Thank you for
You're
the
doing
time.
just fine.
Thank you for the time, Mr.
Thank you,
President.
Joe.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, you're welcome.
All right, that the President of the United States, of course, and our very own Joe Kernan in Davos. They began speaking on the news of the moment, the news that has moved the stock market decidedly
up
in the
on
late
that.
afternoon. What the president has called the
Holy.
concept of a deal with NATO over Greenland, something he put on social media earlier.
Nice.
The
That was a good
framework
speech.
to a deal, called it forever when he was questioned about what this will actually.
Oh, dude, we got the tariff no at 6 cents in the beginning. We had some crazy pickups because he was talking about tariffs in the beginning, and everyone was like, you know, ready for him to go to it. And then he held. That was a freaking good speech for us. Yeah, I held all the no tariffs. I tried to get more though. I was trying to do like a 1K bid. Oh my gosh, I could have gotten so much at like 6 cents. Then it mogged again back the other way. I need to size up, man. What am I doing? Because if I get clicked, I lose what? A little bit of money? Man. All right. Well, look, no crypto BTC held. Our biggest position pre-market. I should have, again, gotten more on freaking no crypto BTC. But I played it okay, man. Only making 1,400 there is pretty bad, I feel like. But whatever. No, I should be happy. Good Trump speech, I guess. Whatever. We'll take it. Oh, I mean, with how long I freaking waited for that. I got China No live when it looked like he was wrapping up. Just playing it live. No AI when it didn't say in response. Yeah, that was smart. Just contextually playing stuff as stuff happens. Oh man, that was electric speech. Just contextual clues. Like when he said, like, we don't have a lot of time, you know? That made me feel like all these nodes were undervalued. So I raced to buy a ton. And then, like, the tariff one, I thought he could weave it. Because he was kind of weaving tariff. So when I could get it at 7 cents. All right, well, successful day. No, I'm not going to go live for News Nation because I don't think that's going to be like streamed. So I can't broadcast it. Like if it's copyrighted. Dude, we were on tariff. That was me and you, Foster. I'm just happy I got 450, whatever. I mean, it's me getting my money back after yesterday 8 wars no didn't hold. Because I caught 8 war no when someone mismogged. And then it didn't hold yesterday because he said 8 wars again. So that was payback for yesterday. But that was a fun speech. You got 500 more at 20 cents. I thought about getting more at 20. I should have made more, man. I should have gotten bigger no's across the board once he started pivoting from stuff. Like towards the end when it looked like it was going to end. You got 273 tariff, no. Yeah, he was saying a ton of strikes at the very end. So kind of thankful. You got very cheap border, no. Nice. All his common sense. Yeah, open border. I know. That was a bizarre way to hit. I got some oil and gas right when he pivoted to Venezuela and talking about the oil there, which was a good pickup. All right, well, man, this was a freaking long stream. What have I been live for 3.5 hours? This is one of my longest streams. I'm going to get some freaking food. I've not had lunch. I guess I shouldn't eat a big lunch because I'm getting dinner, but okay, good on crypto. We should have done way more. We should have done like 5K. No, crypto. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. We will be back. As always, take care. Enjoy the rest of your week.